Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Spawncast episode 217. We're missing Max, who actually had a few things to take care of tonight. And then Click is on vacation, so she'll be back next week. But we had a very busy week this past week in games. A lot of stuff happened, so we're gonna get moving pretty quick here. Let's start at the top. Jordan, how you doing tonight?
Good. How you doing? Glad to be here.
Good. I saw the Rugrats stuff went down and everything while your channel was rolling with it, so good to see all that. Enjoyed the video.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Very good. Make sure you check out Jordan. Of course, he's doing a lot of videos now for some of these different shows and Rugrats and all of that, so make sure you check out Jordan Fringe. And we have Evan, who's making sure everything's running, monitoring chat, all that good stuff. How you doing, Evan?
Doing all right.
And we got MVG.
Hey, what's going on? Great to be here.
Good. And we got OJ, Player Essence. How's it going, OJ?
Doing good, playing Mass Effect, and it's still the best thing ever. Still the best, might be the best Western game ever made.
Very nice. Then we got Sean, RGT.
Yo.
Still wearing the Knicks hat.
It's 2-1.
Okay.
Julius isn't playing well. If we win game 4, it's over. It's done. They'll be fine.
Okay.
Julius just needs to start playing well.
Okay, gotcha. And then we have Nate the Hate. How's it going, Nate?
Yankees lost again today. It's a very depressing day for baseball.
Good stuff. I like that, actually.
No, Stanton just came back. He struck out 4 times in a single game.
Okay,
Not good. They gotta start hitting again. They were doing so well, then they had a day off, and now it's like they forgot how to play baseball.
You and this baseball talk. All right, that's fine.
In a couple of weeks, it's going to be Euro Cup talk because Portugal is coming for a repeat.
Let's get started here right away. Evan, do you want to hit us with a Discord question? Actually, I need to double check something real quick with the. But you want to hit us with a Discord question?
All right, whole group question. How does everybody feel about Billy Hatcher? And do you think if Yuji Naka put out a Billy Hatcher sequel, would it have been better than Balan?
Yuji Naka has lost his touch, I feel.
You think that's what it is, Sean?
I think that's what it boils down to, yeah.
Still cool with Billy Hatcher, though?
I mean, you can have one bad game, right?
He's had Rodea, the Sky Soldier. Was that good and I missed it? The Wii version was better than the Wii U version. Okay, but that doesn't mean that it's still a good
you can
game.
have 2 bad games, right?
What else?
I think he needs to make something maybe like 2D on a smaller scale instead of like trying to make some type of 3D adventure game like he's made before. I think he needs to just like kind of like chill and make something kind of just scale back just a little bit, you know? That's what I think. Because it's like 3D platformers aren't easy to make. I know people think that they're easy, but 3D platformers aren't easy to make. Like there's not a ton of, oh, look at this great 3D platform. Look at this. There's a few and they're some of them are good, but it's harder to do that. So I think maybe you should just kind of chill and maybe make something 2D, make something like more like on the indie side of thing, like that type of style. And I think he can have some success.
He also made Shadow the Hedgehog. He was the producer for that.
And what's your point there? It was a great game.
You could have 3 bad games.
We have another Discord question, Evan.
Are there any games you wish had a New Game Plus mode that would have kept you playing?
New Game Plus mode.
Yeah, actually, Returnal. I wish Returnal had something extra after completing it, because if you don't want to search for all the lore and the glyphs, there's really not much to do after you get the final ending. Even in arcade mode or something like that, like a score attack or boss rush mode, would have been something that would have kept me invested in the game. But once you really finish it off and get that final ending, there's no reason to come back.
Okay. So I guess we'll just move into right away the Switch Pro talk, because it's back in the news. We've been talking about Switch Pro. How long have we been talking about Switch Pro for?
6 years.
7 years?
84 years.
Wii U one. Yeah.
Before the Switch came out, right? We were talking about it. There was a lot of build up to even when the Switch was coming out about different things happening at the factory. And then after that, I know we had reports come back. I feel like has it been Bloomberg this whole time, or has it been Wall Street Journal as well right next to him? Because I feel like Bloomberg's been bringing it up more than anyone else over the last 3 years. But anyway, the last report seems to be placing this new Switch, the Switch revision, as something that would be announced ahead of E3, whereas before I didn't think we'd see anything about it until after E3 anyway, and Nintendo would get closer to when they'd potentially be releasing it to announce it and have like we talked about this at length before, a 1 to 2 1 to 2 month run up, and then they release it. But things appear to have maybe changed a bit planning wise, and now it looks like they're going to announce it, or a third party's going to announce it, or something. At this is what it sounds like, the way it's being described by Bloomberg.
A lot has changed, and I mean, especially the release date, it's far sooner than I was anticipating based on the information I was receiving. And the big change is basically there are a few third parties who really want to announce their games at E3, and they cannot do this unless the Pro is announced. And that is why we're going to see the Pro announced within the next 2 weeks. We will then see select Pro games showcased over the course of E3 from third parties, and I would assume Nintendo will also have something to show off from first party efforts.
Oh,
that's the reason it's happening now, is certain developers want to show pro enhanced games for the Switch, and the only way you can do that is to actually announce the hardware.
So they're kind of basically they're forced to do it, essentially, is what you're saying.
Essentially they are forced, but it's an odd situation, only because of the third party games I am aware of that will be at E3 and have pro versions shown. These games are not pro exclusive. These are games that will be coming to the standard Switch.
What are the games?
Yeah,
I'm not saying that right now.
Why?
I actually heard. I heard one.
You can't lick the tip and then walk away.
MVG and I have a podcast coming out very soon, and you get more information there.
I do know of one game that
is it Genshin?
No, I know of one game. It's actually called Balan Wonderworld. it's an RGT 85 exclusive. You're gonna get it first, bro.
You think? All right. So you said you think Nintendo might even show a game there that's going to take advantage of it.
Yeah, I'm sure Nintendo will have something on display so they can, demonstrate the strengths of the platform.
Well, even if it's
third parties will be probably the main focus. It seems, at least right now, they're the reason it's happening.
Right. Yes, that basically. Okay. Yeah. I wonder when this all kind of came about with Nintendo. Like they had to have realized that they might want to show their games off at E3. Is it because E3 kind of was getting thrown together? Like, I don't want to say last minute, but it seemed to be more spur of the moment with E3 than it normally would be every year. Do you think maybe that had something to play into it? And they're like, whoa, okay, there's actually some like interest in E3, because I think there's been some pent up demand for it to return and have another show, and maybe developers and publishers are like, can we talk about this here, because there's a lot of people are going to be watching this.
One of the games, from my understanding, was they've only basically got to the game to the point where they want to announce it now very recently. So this could have been one of the decisions of why this was rushed. And the conversations I was having this week, there's still a lot of uncertainty from conversations I'm having. Those who are certain about it are only certain about it because they're saying, well, yeah, our games that are pro enhanced are going to be at E3. It's like, okay, that's what's giving me the confidence to say before E3 starts, the Pro will be announced. Now, I don't know the exact day. It's anytime between now and in 2 weeks.
I think everyone's trying to basically guess. Like I was like, okay, well, I mean, we kind of figured it wasn't going to be on Thursday. There was a lot of talk that it might be on like Thursday or Friday, but once you brought up, and it kind of reminded me, I was like, oh yeah, it's Memorial Day weekend. Nintendo America, they're not going to announce it. Nintendo America is not there to field a lot of questions that are obviously going to come in.
It was like Thursday. I could have seen the announcement take place only because like it was pure hunch. And I know people saw like the banter on Twitter between like Emily Rogers and myself, where I just said, pure gut speculation. And somehow people took that to be like, oh, it's a tease. Like I didn't know how saying here's a pure hunch can be taken as a tease.
No, because even you had what's his face, Jason Schreier saying, I think it could potentially, it
like
wasn't like you were the only person saying.
Yeah, like on my end, it was the article dropped Wednesday night. Yes. And if you're going to say in the article it's imminent, you basically positioned this article to preempt the announcement taking place. So it's like they must have some sort of idea that this is happening in the very immediate future. So they wanted to beat it by 12 or 24 hours. Obviously, nothing happened. And that makes me kind of wonder if, let's say it's coming this week, or even if it's coming the week after. Could have held this article then for another few days. What was the rush to get it out that Wednesday? And that's why my hunch was that it could have happened on Thursday, but with Nintendo of America being closed on Friday, Memorial Day weekend. And I've seen people say, well, why can't they announce it? Why does the industry have to shut down for an American holiday? Well, it doesn't. If they really wanted to announce it, they could announce it Sunday at midnight because Japan's going to be open for business on Monday.
Sure.
It's mostly a logistics thing that they know Nintendo of America offices are going to get emails. You're going to have a lot of media inquiring about this, and you need someone at their computer, at office, at the ready to respond. So, it really is anytime the next 13 days. The announcement will take place.
Yeah, I just put up like, a Tuesday or Wednesday, for example, this week coming up, just because this was on Friday. I think I recorded that video yesterday. I recorded the video. I was like, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday they would do that. But you're right, it could be anytime. The reason I didn't think they'd want to wait until the week before E3, which that's really how far out it would be then if they decide not to do it this week coming up, is then there's going to also be I assume like a mad dash for all the information and stuff getting out there. Whereas if they do it this week coming up, they'll at least give a week buffer to make sure everything's settled.
I think it also depends on what information they want to relay in the official reveal of the Pro itself. Are they just going to say, here's the Switch Pro, here's a quick 45-second overview video that they're going to drop on Twitter with some quick details, and then say, on this day, when we have our E3 presser, we're going to further show it in some of the games that utilize this new hardware, or are we going to get the full-on reveal? Here's the
like price, the Switch Lite,
like the
Switch Lite.
You do it like the Switch Lite. You do it like the new 3DS XL. You don't lick the tip and walk away. I get to say that twice in this video now. You gotta come out and show it. I mean, because people are gonna analyze it anyways and figure out. No, I don't like that.
It's it's gonna be real interesting this week coming up, because basically, are we all now on like? Are we on just like Switch Pro Watch now? Is that what everyone's just basically doing online? Is just waiting, watching Nintendo of America every like hour or 2 hours that they tweet? So everyone's just like waiting for the scheduled tweet to go up now.
It seems to be what's going to be happening for the next 13 days. Is people are going to sit there waiting for Nintendo of America to put out a tweet at the top of the hour at some random hour. But I mean, just set notifications on and have it on your phone, and you'll get the notification when it takes place. There's no reason to sit at your computer anxiously for the next 1,000 hours.
Yeah, I'm sure your sub box will let you know what's happening too on YouTube. But the other thing was the idea, of course, of the exclusive games on the Switch Pro. I assume that's one of the things they would want to show at E3. That's why it's so pressing. It's not because like there's going to be a game there that won't work on the regular Switch is what I'm thinking.
I mean, on the titles I'm aware of, they're not Pro exclusive. They will be on the standard Switch. Okay. They just want to showcase the games in their best form.
They want to say 4K next to the Switch logo.
Basically, it's very similar to what we saw with the PlayStation 4 Pro or even the One X. They like to slap that icon in the corner saying PlayStation 4 Pro. So you say, wow, look at Horizon. I got to buy this I got to get a PlayStation 4 Pro so I can play it in that visual fidelity.
Yes. I do wonder if that would have a serious effect on kind of the view of third-party games on the Switch. All of a sudden, it's like, oh, it's 4K as well. All right, I guess I'll just get it on the Switch then.
So when are these games supposed to be coming out? Because it's not going to be this year, is it? Switch Pro games?
They can listen to the Nate the Hate podcast featuring MVG on Monday morning and get an answer to that question.
Well, why don't you give the viewers, the listeners, a preview of that?
Tease, if you will.
Give them a tease.
I think that's a good tease. How much tickling do I have to do?
No, licking.
You lick, I tickle. This episode is sponsored by Adam and Eve.
All right.
What happens if like this all E3 comes and goes and none of this happens, Nate?
Then Bloomberg, myself, Jason Schreier, we all got fed a very bad apple of information.
Also, a lot of OLED screens showed up at factory for some reason.
Yeah, that happened. A lot happened where developers, publishers, manufacturers are all sitting saying, what the hell happened? Like, I don't know.
People love OLED. OLED's great.
Okay, so
bunch of OLEDs coming out of nowhere.
The interesting thing is that
it's really for the Vita too.
Now we're talking 4D chess.
3 a.m. announcement. All right, let's go.
It'll be dead in 2 years. Don't worry.
we also had that. There was that information that got out there, whether it's as correct, we don't know if it's correct until obviously that it gets revealed, but there was talk about the dock being a bit different and having an Ethernet port, which would be the first time Nintendo would ever do that technically.
That sounded weird to me.
Yeah, I know. Isn't it strange that
when I saw Ethernet port, I'm like, this is, I don't even know if this is legit.
That sounds convenient. That can't be right.
That can't be right.
It is strange that we are into 2021 though, and Nintendo has never actually had that in a system natively. And technically, it still wouldn't natively be in the Switch because it'd be an accessory that the Switch plugs into. No, but yeah, they mentioned 4K, same Joy-Cons. No surprise there. Nintendo will stick with these Joy-Con. They might do like a silent revision maybe at some point, but I don't think they're going to get crazy and change things up too much with it. So do we have any guesses? Anyone want to take a guess as to when the Switch Pro gets announced? Oh, and what are we calling this thing? Are we sticking with Switch Pro, or you think Nintendo's calling it something different?
I'm going to say new Nintendo Switch.
Okay.
That's what I think it is.
Yeah, that seems pretty straightforward.
I'm going to say nothing because it's not real and you're all phonies and liars and you're all going to hell.
See, I don't disagree with Sean. Like I know he's mostly just messing around, but like there's a part of me that just feels like none of this is going to happen. Like, and I say that because and again, listen to the Nate the Hate show, because Nate and I go pretty deep on this conversation. But I will let people know that as a Nintendo developer, I have asked around, and no one I've spoken to knows anything about this. Now that's not
they're lying to you.
No, I mean, you know, there's a difference between I'm under NDA and I can't say anything versus I don't know anything, right? But that's not to say this doesn't exist, but if it does, it's a very, very controlled and a very small group of people that are developing games for this thing right now.
Did you ask Capcom? Ask Capcom.
Because I'm curious. Because I'm curious. Eurogamer apparently was able to corroborate the report as well. So technically, we have a source from Eurogamer. We have a source from. Bloomberg.
And John, that's the thing that got me. Like, I've always been, I think it's going to happen because Nintendo always does revisions, like with their anything that's like modular, portable. Like they've been doing this for like 30 years or something like that, or like 20 something years. So since back in the day. But Eurogamer is usually spot on. I got bodied last time that I went against them, so I kind of tend to believe what Eurogamer will say, and they seem very credible. So I don't want to go against Eurogamer again. You know,
who was it at Eurogamer? Oh, it was Tom Phillips.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have Tom Phillips and Machizuki, basically.
I'm not discounting this info. But it also just feels a little off to me. There's something missing in this whole piece of the puzzle that we're not knowing about, and I don't know what that is yet. Like, sure, we may get a reveal of this at E3. It's probably going to happen, but is the system really going to come out in September this year? Is that accurate? Is it really going to be, $349 or $399? Like those types of things I have questions about. Like I feel like this is a 2022 system all day long personally, but I could be totally off on that.
Well, yeah, I think it could be then too. I just think that some people think that it's not real at all.
Okay, I thought I saw someone in the chat mention that they were sourcing. They say Nintendo's long-awaited Switch upgrade is expected to be shown ahead of E3 2021, according to a report published by Bloomberg today and Eurogamer's own sources.
Yeah.
Okay. So
they're using the Bloomberg article at the jump-off point, and they corroborated it with their own sources that they can back that information.
Okay. So we have Tom Phillips and we have Machizuki to go on here.
You could kind of throw Schreier in there too if he's. Technically
he's Bloomberg.
But
what about like Emily Rogers on Twitter as well?
People think she's phony, but I will never forget the time before the Switch was revealed. Like the games and stuff, and there was that 4chan post that detailed like every game, and I made a tweet about it. I don't know, she might get mad at I say this, but she DM'd me and she was like, that 4chan post is 100% accurate, and I was like, fuck you, because they had like Ultra Street Fighter 2 the final challengers on there, and I'm like, there's no fucking way they're gonna do Ultra Street Fighter 2 on the Switch. And then when that presentation happened, every single game was there, and I was like, wow. Never mind, I apologize, senpai.
she's gotten like she's gotten like a couple things wrong, but I will also say that, like I said, I'm not gonna say anything like more, but there was a time that she potentially said something before the Switch even launched, and she ended up being right on what she was saying, but so many other people were corroborating. But she had potentially put out some information that was right when people didn't know what the Switch was. Like, is it a portable? Is it a home console? She potentially put out information that was exactly what the Switch ended up being, even before Eurogamer confirmed it. So, I mean, like, you know, that's what I'll say on that. I mean, I'm not going to doubt. Like,
I'll say this: I
think she's done on some stuff.
Yeah, I have some confidence in Emily Rogers.
Yeah, I agree. I think usually when she makes tweets like this, you know, the info is pretty much airtight and it's good to go. So, yeah, I think she's mostly accurate with, you know.
The thing is, nobody has a
stuff.
fucking 100% track record at the end of the day. So,
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I do. Hey, no, never mind. No, I don't.
I think it could be a pretty fun road to E3 then, I guess, in the next week and a half. E3's so close.
Dude,
Jeez.
I just want them to announce this thing.
I think we all do.
I'm just
right?
sick of talking about it, honestly.
No,
I mean,
no, we're going to be talking about it a lot.
So you're
more
going to
after
talk about it more.
I want to make more. I want to make more videos, but I want to make videos on the tech side, right? Like once we actually figure out what the system is going to be. So I don't want to make more videos on, you know, rumors and Bloomberg reports and stuff like that. I just want this thing to get announced.
You just want to get announced so we can look at it. We can talk about the actual device
Analyze
itself,
it.
and then eventually buy it in apparently September.
So are they going to do shit like, you know, make Breath of the Wild 60 frames on this thing?
I like the idea of them revisiting some of these old games and like. I like that a lot. That'd be
like
really
they
cool.
should. Like, I think that would be a smart move, because if like you said, Nintendo themselves, oh shit, I just trapped myself. If Nintendo themselves doesn't really have any, you know, games ready to go with it, like that's sort of incentive for people. Like, hey,
well, I mean, that's gonna be the thing. Is Nintendo will have games that will take advantage of the system, but when you think of, you know, a game to take advantage of it, if you have a brand new 2D Metroid game, is that really the graphical showcase you want of this brand new Switch? No, you want something more demanding. You want something bigger. And that's where it's going to be a case of, and I've seen it a lot online. People say, oh, well, if this is coming in September, it means Breath of the Wild 2 must be September. No, it doesn't.
No.
These two do not have to correlate. They can be completely separate entities, and you should treat them as such. Breath of the Wild 2 is not going to have an E3 showing and only have a 3-month marketing cycle, while Skyward Sword, which was unveiled in February, would get a 5-month marketing cycle. Breath of the Wild 2 will have a meaningful and substantial marketing cycle leading up to release. Nobody should be anticipating Breath of the Wild 2 to potentially launch with this in September if the system does, in fact, make a September launch. And based on the information that Bloomberg was reporting, they don't have an exact date in mind based on their information, even their production. They hope it begins in July. The earliest is September, possibly October. Well, September 1st to October 31st, that's a lot of days.
Yeah.
That's a huge swing. That's not just, you know, a week time frame. We're talking 2 months difference.
I kind of feel like they know their developers that are going to want to talk about it at E3, and maybe they've been given the green light, so they just assume, okay, that means Nintendo's going to be announcing this thing then. So
yes,
now we're just basically like, okay, well, they're going to announce it before E3, so at some point in the next week and a half, they're going to drop a video online.
Which comes out first, though? The Switch Pro or the Sega Spartan?
I mean, do you think the Sega Spartan tries to jump the Switch Pro with like a pre-E3 reveal?
They could. You throw the Amico in there as well. You got a fucking dogfight going on.
Hey, that Amico getting some games.
Okay, so once again, is it this week? MVG already said new Nintendo Switch, and you said it. Wait, when did you say it's getting announced, MVG?
I didn't say anything.
No, or did you? Everyone, reset Eric quickly. Make the post.
Switch developer says
new Nintendo Switch probably announced next week. If it doesn't, I mean, is it a big surprise? Probably not. But I mean, I think the info is good that we'll hear about it before E3, especially to Nate's point. If there are games that are ready to be showcased at E3. It does make sense that they would announce the hardware before E3. So I think, you know, the info is good, and we'll see how it plays out. You know,
I think something that's kind of making me lean towards it, like coming out obviously like this year and being a real thing, is we got Pokemon Legends Arceus coming out in January, which that game is probably going to benefit from having a more powerful Nintendo Switch. I do believe that game is going to be a lot better than what we saw it as, but I also do think on a modern Switch, it might be a little rough still. So I don't know. That's the only thing where I would see if it's getting announced that early for that, for January of next year, that we might actually see something this year.
Pokemon? You say Pokemon? Because that was a fun controversy this week.
Yeah, it's been an interesting controversy. I've never seen so many people angry about the positions of Pokemon on a
weirdo
game
shit.
cover.
Do we want to transition into what's? Go ahead, MVG.
Oh, I was going to say. I mean, we need the boycotts. We need the
They said 2022 for a release date, and then they said January 2022, and people are like, ah! Like,
yeah,
what?
we need that.
They said early 2022.
What's wrong with you?
And they meant it.
That's as early as you can get, really.
Yeah, they meant it. They really said.
The more
January.
discourse on Twitter, the more copies it's going to sell overall. Right? We need a good boycott. So let's get that boycott going.
Well, MVG,
I was cover controversy. So
I wanted to ask MVG something, because I was told that it's common knowledge that all games are supposed to be developed in about it's rushed if it's 3 years or less. And you're a developer, so is this is common knowledge amongst all games? That's what I was told by many people.
I couldn't believe when I was reading that people are upset that the game is already, it's going to get released in January as opposed to like later. People are upset that the game's coming out earlier than later. That doesn't make any sense to me.
So
at
let me go this route then, just to present it. The issue I think we're running into is they haven't shown us enough of the game to have actual confidence behind it, because what they showed us was pretty rough.
Yeah, but I mean, that was I kind of took that away as more of a tease than anything. I didn't feel like that was something that. Yeah, exactly. I didn't feel like it was anything that
the phrase of the night
they necessarily needed to show us Arceus, but I think they just wanted to show it to us and get people excited about it. And to Jordan's point, if the Switch Pro comes out, which it will, this game will take advantage of.
Hold on, what the Switch developer says is going to come out?
Confirmed.
It will take advantage of the new hardware, and I think that leap in visual fidelity and frame rate and all that stuff will really make people just forget about the existing trailer that they saw of the game.
I think one of the biggest problems with Arceus is that for some reason there are members of the Pokemon community and its Twitter accounts and some of the YouTube channels with these content creators that focus primarily on Pokemon games, is that they have convinced the community that the phrase at the bottom of gameplay trailers or gameplay footage, work in progress, means nothing. And it means a lot. It means it is a work in progress. What you are seeing is not final. What we saw of Arceus, for all we know, that particular build could have been 6 months old.
Yeah.
We don't know. And if people look to that and they try to say, well, that's what the final product is going to be, or if you believe that's what the final product is going to be, you're doing yourself a disservice. It says work in progress. It will improve. The game is still, 8 months away from release.
Yeah.
And people think, oh, that's not a lot of time. That's a lot of time for polish, because you don't know the state of the game is in at this moment. And people assume like, oh, this game's only been in development for a year. No, you don't know when the game started development. It's substantially more than a year ago.
It's definitely been longer than that, because you can tell while they've had other stuff come out that this has definitely been their biggest priority. Shifting development of the remakes to another team that's not Game Freak, and it's just seeing how they're handling a bunch of the Pokemon stuff right now. They really want to make some sort of statement with this game. But could this game be bad? Absolutely. Could it be everything it lives up to? Sure. But we have roughly 8 months until this game comes out, and the difference of why we haven't seen anything yet is for something like Diamond and Pearl, which we'll probably start seeing more of, but not as much, because they're the remake games. They're coming out, they're going to be fun, but Pokemon's focusing on Arceus, and if it was a regular release for November, we usually get an announcement in February and drip fed stuff throughout the year. Obviously, that this is a little bit further than November by a couple months, maybe around E3 or a little after E3 is when we're going to start getting drip fed information about Arceus and how it's looking and what's going on. It's the cycle that they've done. They just had to shift it a little bit because the game's not coming out in November, but they have 2 games coming out in November and then 2 months later they're having this massive game come out. So they have a lot to focus on, and I'm sure we're going to see stuff soon. We're going to get a lot of our questions answered, but Nintendo always does a lot of the stuff with their major releases. We don't know a lot about stuff usually until right before it comes out. It's very few and far between. We know a lot about something way before it comes out, which has also backfired in the past. Look at us still talking about a logo for Metroid Prime 4. If they wouldn't have said anything, we would just be like, hey, where's Metroid? But now we're like, hey, where's Metroid? And we're a little bit different in our attitude towards it.
I almost wonder if they just didn't show that gameplay and they just had like a little cinematic thing going just to give the premise of it without showing in-game visuals, if people would still be like frustrated or worried right now at that release date being too early.
Yes. They would.
Yes.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they showed something, if they didn't. People would still be worried, and the game would still be number one on Amazon, or it'd still sell a bunch. So it doesn't really matter. What I've realized with some of these people is like you just have a lot of uneducated people in the Pokemon universe that like to talk because the base is just big. So you hear more. But based off of what you hear online, you would think that Sword and Shield would sell 2 copies. So with Pokemon, just in general, people just like to just say whatever. They have no filter with Pokemon. So usually people have filters. Even the Metroid community has a filter. But I've seen like the Pokemon community has almost no filter online. They just say whatever, whether it's right or wrong, they'll just say whatever they want. And they don't care nobody's going to convince them otherwise because they're disappointed with something, but they don't like Sword and Shield or no national decks or something like that. So they'll just say what they want and they don't care if they're right or wrong on it, man. They'll just say stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I give them credit for actually showing us that work in progress stuff. Like, they didn't have to do any of that. They could have just kept quiet about it, all this time, and then just like not shadow dropped it, but like it's coming out, next month or something, and everyone's like really hyped about it. I think it's really cool that they did that.
It was a bonus,
Absolutely.
No one, up until literally like a couple nights before the announcement, no one was expecting more than the remakes, is what we were guessing. So to not only get remakes happening, but taking Pokemon in a new direction for whether this is their new mainline ideas or if this is just something they want to try and see if they can have another spin-off series, then this is a big deal. No one asked for that. Like no one was saying, "Oh, I wonder if they're going to do this." We've joked around about an open world Pokemon game, and then when one finally shows up, it's just more of the same banter back and forth. It's like can we just wait a little bit until they actually show us more or talk about it? Like, yeah, there was some rough aspects of it, and it's fine to call that out. But, when there's nothing and to make something out of nothing in between it's a little bit ridiculous.
Yeah, I've been pretty rough on Game Freak when it comes to that because they're so cookie cutter with their stuff. So when they actually revealed this, I was like, you know what? That's cool. And then they showed that there's only going to be one version of the game. And I was like, wow, that's surprising. So
it's the game that all the old men want. All the fucking kids who were 11, 12, 13 playing the original Pokemon Red and Blue. This is the game that we had dreamed up in our mind, so now it's finally coming to fruition.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I assume they're going to show us a new trailer soonish, maybe, for Arceus.
I would expect soon.
Yep. I think they will. It's going to be a lot better. And I mean, it's going to be right there with the Pro, right? When it drops. So it's going to sell a lot of units.
I feel like it sounds like they were going to do something before E3 with the Pokemon stuff. But even if they were like, we'll just throw the Arceus trailer into the E3 presentation, that'd be fine too. Just to give some people a little bit more to look at for the game, and maybe set some concerns to the side by showing off the better aspects of the game, or maybe just better looking game. So
it's rare that we get box art, posters, images, and a release date without having an attached trailer or some marketing with it. So I assume that they could have released it early due to hype, and then are going to show something impressive.
It's rare, Jordan, having that release timing be so small between Diamond and Pearl and then Arceus. It's like what, 2 months or something like that, 2.5 months.
That just makes me think that
that's pretty quick.
They have a lot of plans for next year as well, and they've spaced out their stuff. I think we're going to get another big Pokemon game, obviously November of next year, and maybe some other stuff sprinkled in between. Maybe Pokemon Sleep finally comes out of its slumber and gives us some updates. It was just the 2-year anniversary the other day of that. So I don't know. There's a lot of stuff coming out with Pokemon next year. I know this year's the anniversary, but there's also been a lot of other issues going on in the world that kind of push back a lot of plans. So
what?
Oh, sure. Just a couple things.
Whole Rugrats controversy.
The Rugrats, yeah, that was about to say. That was a big one for sure.
Okay. Let's Evan, we got Discord questions over there.
Yeah, we still got a good bit more. I don't know how to say this. This one's for Sean. Someone just finished putting up it's spelled with 2 I's, and then it's Arcade Retromania cabinet. They just finished building it. They're wondering if you're getting one because apparently Stevie Richards has one. Stevie Richards.
I don't have room. I want one. I'm like 99% sure they want to send me one as well, but I literally don't have room for it. So I need to buy a house.
For the arcade cabinets. You're not going to live there. You're just going to leave the arcade cabinets.
I mean, I guess I'll live there.
Oh, okay.
Like, you know, whatever. But yeah, once I get more room, like I'm going to get shit like that. So.
Okay, very good. We got another Discord question, Evan. Then I'll go over some of the super chats. Then we'll start talking about all the live streams that happened this past week.
Would we consider taking a small break before or after E3 just because of all the stuff coming up?
Nope.
Oh, you don't take breaks during E3. That's when you make the fucking money.
What's a break?
Yeah, but the Euro Cup takes place during E3.
And I'm watching the playoffs and still making videos.
We can multitask.
Can we though?
When you create content, it's not like you can't take a you can take a break, but then like you can't. Like you get breaks like because you set your own schedule. So that's how you set your own breaks up, you know, so you don't get too burnt out when you're a content.
Sounds
creator,
depressing having to do shit like that.
I don't know. I have fun doing this, so
I mean, same.
Trust me, it beats working like, you know, other
That's
stuff.
one fucking thing I will never complain about is my job. Like fucking
exactly.
let me go to some of the super chats here. We got SwiftX Miles saying, what's your dream feature for Switch Pro?
Dashboard backgrounds.
Folders,
yeah.
Folders. That's a good question. I'm gonna go.
That's your dream folders.
I mean, dream features. What? I mean, we already hear it's going to be 4K, and that's what a lot of people are talking about anyway, and maybe higher frame rates. I guess. All right, let's go with Bluetooth audio, so I can actually use headphones with it. Then we have Dark saying, okay, but can we talk about the whole Spawncast and the Borderlines Forever episode on Scott the Woz? That was absolutely hilarious. We definitely need Scott on here more regularly.
You know what's funny about that? I saw that video go up, and all these people were like retweeting it and sharing it, like, "Oh yeah, I'm in the new Scott the Woz video." And I was like, "Man, that's kind of fucked. He didn't ask me to be in it. Like, what the fuck?" And then I watched the video and I was like, "Oh yeah, we filmed that so fucking long ago. I completely forgot about it."
We filmed that back in February.
Yeah, Scott planned, for anyone who doesn't realize it, Scott plans his videos way in advance, and none of us are really used to that because we're more like, all right, let's film it, get it edited, and put it up.
I think what we were told was, hey, can you just film this clip? We had no context to what we
Yeah, no context. He was like, just act like you're watching something on your phone. I was like, okay.
Yep. It was that was a good video though.
I knew it was going to be for something though when he asked us, because that's how Scott is. He always plans his ish in like super far in advance. I was like, oh, it's probably going to be some type of crazy cool video, and that's exactly what it was. So
we'll get Scott back on the Spawncast or on the channel here soon. We'll work something out with him. This is from I Live for Retro saying, so do you all think the Switch Pro will have a D-pad like the Switch Lite? Probably not, because it's going to use the same Joy-Cons. So unless they come out with a Joy-Con with the D-pad, that'd be kind of cool. Platt says, question for NVG. Is it worth it to sell my FrameMeister and get the RetroTink 5X, or hold on to it and get the RetroTink as well?
Get the RetroTink 5X. You don't need the FrameMeister.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah.
Okay.
Plus the FrameMeister, you got to like adjust all the. That's why I never got one, because don't you have to like adjust settings for like every No, you don't do shit with this thing. You literally plug it in. It's like
plug and play. It's so cool. Like even a dummy like me, you know, can use it without having to dial in all the settings.
An idiot like me.
Dummy like MVG. Meanwhile, he's porting games to the Switch. All right.
That's easy. OJ just said we just press a button and it's done, right?
Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure that's what happens.
Time.
Yeah,
I'm almost positive. Get me. I want GTA 8 ported.
Dark says, also hot take, Valve doesn't need to make video games anymore with the way they are taking things. I mean, no, technically they don't have to make video games. It'd be nice if they would, though. Symphonic Balance says 2 weeks until E3, no expectations, just happy to have a centralized event for news. Disgaea 6 also comes out in June. Looking forward to it. Very nice. Liam says, could Breath of the Wild 2 come out this year if Pro is in September? Well, I assume it's not in November since Pokemon's in November. So I don't know. Zelda's in October.
I don't know. It's Breath of the Wild 2021 stuff.
I'm starting to think they're gonna hold it till March, and it'll be a nice anniversary thing.
I don't think they're gonna hold it. Like, do we forget that Anumastan was apologizing about no lack of updates? Lack of updates at the last direct, whatever. I mean, this game isn't coming out this year, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think you're right on that. I think Breath of the Wild 2 is gonna fall to next year. Yeah. And this is from Nintenderic saying, kind of neat to see such a large portion of the cast of the Scott DeWaz movie all in one podcast. There you go. Matt with a cool little sticker here says GG. The Basement says, is John and OJ on tonight asking for a friend? That one was $9.99.
Oh, wow, he even put the extra, wait a minute, but it wasn't 10. It's for each person. We have to split it half and half. Don't answer. He's off by a penny.
Lucius says, MVG, I'm loving the beard growth.
Thank you.
Tariq says, Nintendo are the biggest teases in gaming. Jose says, well, they didn't post the flaming Chibi Robo yet. I expect to see that this week. It
might be retired, man. I think that might be retired.
That was such a good, whoever did that on like their social media team, that was such a good move when they did that. That was great. Jose says, just got 5 Switch games playing. Shin Megami Tensei 3 and World End Club. Xavion says, Nintendo releasing a Switch Pro during a chip shortage sounds like a scalper's wet dream. I'm pretty sure about supply, and I'm pretty worried about supply, and I feel like Nintendo was underestimating demand by launching at this time. And
we don't know when it's launching. We don't know when it's launching. Yeah. We don't know how much the supply is going to be. There's too much guesswork in that, in my opinion.
We also don't know how long they've necessarily been planning it. People are kind of guessing, but it's like they could have been planning this for a little while now. And,
they could have been stockpiling parts since then. I mean, this is just internet. Never mind.
Yeah. And Valuxine says, anyone play any Super Bomberman R online? It took me almost 10 consecutive hours to get my first win. The competition.
Yes, I was just playing it earlier on the show. I forgot I downloaded it earlier. Very nice. It's fun. It's free. They gave me a free Naked Snake skin from Metal Gear Solid 3. I'm happy. You'll never get a cent out of me, but I'm happy.
Ripe says, how far do you guys sit from your 65-inch TV? I'm gonna say, hold on. I don't know. I didn't break out like a tape measure or anything, but
if it's like 10 4K, feet. It doesn't matter where you sit, really.
Probably 8 to 10 feet. I'm trying to think how far away the couch is from the TV. Yeah, it's about that.
Yeah,
but it's basically most of the room, essentially, for that upstairs. Let's move over now let's go to Sonic Central. What was that, like a 12-minute stream?
15.
I see Jordan up there. Jordan's already excited. Look at him. He's ready. He's ready for Sonic Central. So we'll skip past the animation, the other stuff. We'll just talk about the games. But we had a couple of games announced. We had Sonic Origins. We had Sonic Colors Ultimate, which is the remaster we saw show up online by accident anyway. So that's expected. That's coming out this fall. And then they showed us Sonic 2020, or just 20. They just announced 2022. So apparently that year's happening.
Is that Sonic Rangers?
They kind of Sonic Rangers.
They put it in a press release. And I was like, that's Sega. This Sega. Is not right. Like people were like, they really put in the press. I was like, sure, I guess it's Sega. So Sonic Rangers. Apparently, it kind of lines up with something that showed up online a little way.
John, your mic cut out.
Sega's got him.
Sega silenced him.
Yep, you dare talk ill of Sonic Rangers?
Look, since John isn't talking, I'll talk. The Sonic presentation, all things considered, was solid. All right, it was enjoyable. You got interesting games. We got Sonic the Hedgehog 3 returning to compilations. That's a big thing because of the whole Michael Jackson thing. I'm glad that's been ironed out.
And Knuckles. Sonic and Knuckles.
Sonic CD is on there as well, which people are on the fence about that game. I think it's a really enjoyable game. There's some really cool effects that they do in that game that could only be done on the Sega CD. Sonic Colors is an excellent game to see it get re-released. Mm-hmm. At $40, only $40. There was some weird shit like the Sonic Ice. Like, who the fuck asked for that? But I mean, if it was gold, I might mess with it. The Tails one was kind of gold, but like, oh, you can't rock Tails around your neck. Like he's kind of whiny.
That's definitely woman repellent right there, bro.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I'm good now. Sega, let me come back. Okay, Sonic Rangers. That's apparently the game is going to be called, or at least it's codenamed Sonic Rangers. And it lined up. Apparently, people were passing around that it lined up with a 4chan post about a focus group someone participated in, and it sounded like open world Sonic with Ubisoft towers.
It did. I covered that, and it lined up exactly, even like what they showed in the trailer, like the hold down the A button and the spin, like how you can trace a circle line. That was in the trailer, and that was said back in January. So I'm guessing that post that's too specific of a detail to just make up.
Sonic game.
Yeah, it's looking like an open world Sonic game with some Breath of the Wild elements and some like combat stuff in there.
They weren't ready for Sonic Adventure 3.
RPG stuff in there.
Yeah, I wish.
So let me ask you, why won't they do a Sonic 3D collection? They do this Origins thing. Why don't they throw Adventure 1 and 2 into a collection and like maybe with Sonic Heroes and call it a day?
You can get it on the PlayStation Store. That's what.
No, but I mean, like, they just put them together. I mean, they've released, how many times have they released Sonic 1 and 2 over Knuckles, or well, not Knuckles, but Sonic 1 and 2 over and over again. I guess Sonic 3 is the big
Sonic 3, Sonic
is the
CD.
new thing, right? Yeah,
Sonic CD.
I just think
he's a bit of a rare one.
I just feel like Sega is
on Steam?
disconnected with like its audiences who for what they want with like Sonic. I feel like there's a loud vocal amount of people saying this is what we want from Sonic. We want to see more of this. And they're like, okay, here's Forces, and it's like, no, that's not what we asked for. And I mean, it's up to their discretion. They can make any game they want, but where's Mania 2? Where's all the other games that people have been asking for? And Sonic Rangers, so far from what it sounds like, goes either way. It's either going to be, wow, this is surprisingly good, or this is the jump the shark moment where we take Sonic in the wrong direction, and now there's towers and it's open world and it's weird and different, and it's not what we want for Sonic. And I'm all for changing up and doing what you want, but it's, you've had the answers right in front of you. So I feel like Sega just doesn't check online about what people are very vocal about what they want for Sonic.
Maybe they're just gonna they're gonna bring the fans in and let them make a 3D Sonic game like they did with the 2D Sonic. Why not?
Honestly, that might turn out better.
Can it get any worse?
I'm pretty sure that the versions that they're using of Sonic are the Christian Whitehead versions for the Origins collection.
Yeah, I think they are. Yep.
Well, there you go.
At least 1 and 2, I believe, are. I'm not sure about 3 because I heard that they're supporting widescreen, which means it must be
three does have widescreen. Okay. They confirmed it after the event.
Cool. Yeah, I think you're right. I think they are the Christian Whitehead versions of those games.
Yeah, that's I don't know. That's what I would do. I'd say, you know what, if you want Sonic Adventure 3, we're going to bring the fans in who've been making these 3D Sonic games and 2D Sonic games. You guys do it. That's what they did with Mania, and it worked. So maybe you're right, Jordan. Maybe they need to bring the fans in so they can actually. When the fans came in
and they kind of treated it as a joke, like, all right, yeah, fine, you come make a real Sonic game. And they did. And the fans said, this is better than the majority of the things you put out in the last 2 decades. So I would like to see a little bit more.
Sega was like, what's next? Persona 4 Golden going to sell really well on Steam when we put it there?
there's definitely there's a disconnect with Sega. I think Sega is probably out of all the Japanese companies, they're probably the most disconnected with
which is weird if you think
what they could, which is really weird because they actually talk to their fans more than a lot of the other companies. They do, like social media and stuff like that. They seem receptive to it, but it seems like they don't actually put stuff into actual action. But we'll see with the Sonic game. I agree with what Jordan said. This could be absolutely amazing, or this could be really bad. Now, I don't want to alarm anybody because it's super early, but the person did say that the combat wasn't very great. But he said it's early and they still got a lot of time to develop it. It's coming out next year, so he played it a while ago. Obviously, he might have played it at the end of either very early this year or the end of last year. So there's still plenty of time to shape things up.
And I want to say, like on the show, I pick on Sonic a lot, mostly to a joking effect, but that's only because I want to see better from it. I like the character a lot. I may not love the majority of the games that Sonic has put out, but I do like the character and I want to always give him a chance. I am excited for Colors getting a re-release. I actually enjoyed Colors, a Sonic game.
Best theme song ever.
Mm-hmm. So at least that's a good game that's coming out this fall.
That song's copyrighted, so I don't like that song. Screw that.
Is it really? I was wondering that.
It's copyrighted.
Wait, hold on, Jordan, you picking up Sonic Colors?
I will. If a lot
go.
of people are having the same Amazon problem I had when you tried to pre-order on Amazon, it says not shipping to this area or to your address. It's very weird. A lot of people on the East Coast were having that issue. I still can't pre-order the game there.
Yeah,
is it going to run 60? Is it going to run 60?
Yeah, we'll have more announcements as time goes on. Sir.
Yeah, it should be 60. Yeah,
I would hope so. Yeah, it's from the Wii, so I assume it's going to come up and run 60 on the Switch, and then probably 4K 60. Maybe they'll do 4K 120 on like the Xbox Series and the PS5.
I'm gonna have to buy 2 copies if that's the case.
That could be pretty cool. Yeah, so we'll see with that one. And we got Discord questions over there.
We do. How useful will Steam Pal be without the Epic library? Also, without games that use their own launchers like Guild Wars.
So I do wonder. Well, Steam Pal, the rumor for that is that it would use Linux, which I assume would just be a form of their Steam OS that they'd use, so that it feels more like a game system rather than a PC that's jammed into a handheld. It's going to be a way for them to try to just steer you towards Steam anyway, just like how Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo steer you towards their stores. So I think it'll be as useful as your Steam library is, really, the way I see it. And for a lot of people, hey, I mean, Steam library has probably over 100 games for a lot of people right now. So it really comes down to the price and how capable the system is. It's the way I see it. So we have another Discord question, Evan, then we're going to go to Dragon Quest.
Would you guys like to see classic? I think this might have been asked before. Let me go with this other one. Why is Square Enix making a HD 2D remake of Final Fantasy 3 and not just starting with the first one and going in order?
Because 3 is amazing.
Wait, Final Fantasy 3.
Wait, hold on. You Dragon Quest. Dragon Quest 3
is amazing.
Well, okay, so we'll go into the Dragon Quest live stream that we had. I mean, the big reveals were 2 games, really. I mean, there was another one as well that was like a spin-off RPG for Dragon Quest 11 that was going to have Eric and Mia and parts of their childhood. But the big one that
Treasures.
Thank you. Yep, Dragon Quest Treasures. The big one that a lot of people obviously were talking about is Dragon Quest 3 seeing a remake and Dragon Quest 12 obviously getting revealed. But Dragon Quest 3 is now going to be in the HD 2D engine, which we've seen them trademark and do all kinds of stuff in the background to kind of prepare it for this. And it looked awesome in that HD 2D engine.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I was watching the event with OJ.
Yeah, it was good to have you, man. Everyone was happy that you were there.
Dude, that is a fantastic use of the engine to go back and get games that, they were never going to use the Final Fantasy VII remake treatment on an older Dragon Quest game. So why not use the HD 2D treatment? It works really well, keeps that nostalgia still kind of intact, and brings it up to modern times with some cool effects. I love the idea of using the HD 2D engine and doing more games like this from kind of their back catalog. I don't think Final Fantasy VI would ever see that treatment for Final Fantasy VII remake either, but it could get the HD 2D treatment.
It could. I think for people asking why this and not something else, like Nate said, Dragon Quest 3 is a phenomenal game, and you see the flexibility of what they're doing there with HD 2D. I love the camera angle, how they made it to where it's kind of it has like a Golden Sun type of deal, you know? It's kind of behind and then it goes to the first person like they do with Dragon Quest. So it shifts dynamically in the battle, which is fantastic, which is a bit more than what Octopath is. Octopath is it's like Final Fantasy 6 or like Octopath is. So kind of, I like how they actually changed it up and they tuned it towards whatever game, that they're going to be doing with it. So that shows me that they can actually make these games in the HD 2D and actually make it feel fresh. My only concern was that we're just going to start getting flooded with HD 2D and everything's just going to come out, it's going to get played out. That was my only thing.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. It was going to get, but I see now that they can mix it up, that it won't all just be like Octopath, like the 2D, you know what I'm saying? It's not all going to be like that. It's going to have the same art style, but they will shift things around with the camera, the battles, and, to keep it fresh, so I'm happy about that.
That does kind of go into the other question that I thought was worded differently. Would you guys like to see classical Final Fantasy games made in HD 2D? Like Tactics and such?
I'm fine. Final Fantasy, sure, Tactics. Final Fantasy 5 could go into that, I guess. 6, why not? I think it makes sense to use that engine, especially around anniversaries where they can get older games up that some people might not really have access to right now. I think that'd be cool. And 3 is actually a pretty popular game. I mean, they've already remade it once. It went to the Super Famicom, right? And then here it is now showing up on current systems, or at least we think. They just say it's coming to just systems in general. They're going to tell us more about it later on. But
they just said home consoles.
yeah.
Simultaneous worldwide release. Remember we were talking about this the other day, John?
Yep, we're about to go into that with 12 as well, because while we did hear that it was going to be simultaneous worldwide release for Dragon Quest 3, it's also going to be a simultaneous worldwide release for Dragon Quest 12, and they showed a logo that does appear to be more mature in kind of its direction and its setting, and that's one of the big things they emphasize is Dragon Quest 11 has a very bright and colorful, almost happy kind of logo and setting and all of this. This looks like it's going to be a much darker Dragon Quest than we've had recently with 11. And they showed kind of like the fire outline for the 12 and everything. And while we didn't see much about it, I like the idea of them kind of going dark with the Dragon Quest franchise for this next one.
Yeah. I agree. I'm a huge Dragon Quest fan, played every single one. And I think that this is them, Square Enix, knowing that they kind of have to take advantage of this opportunity that they've got in the West. Dragon Quest 12 or Dragon Quest 11, best-selling game in the Dragon Quest series by a large margin. Lots of people really like it. They can turn this into a 10 million seller, but they've got to nail the next game. If they came out with the same thing and people just like, oh, well, it's kind of like the other one, but just, they have to get something that's going to get people excited here in the West, because now it's becoming more of a household name. Dragon Quest is, especially with Dragon Quest 11. It's on different platforms. It's not just doing, we're like only on one platform or only like on a portable. They have it on multiple things. So I think this is them saying, okay, we really have to make sure that we kind of like, get something that's going to be exciting for the Western audience too.
People are pointing it out in the chat that it's going to also use Unreal Engine 5.
Yes, they did. There is some news that came out. They said it's going to use Unreal Engine 5.
So that's very interesting. So it sounds like we're not going to be seeing it for a little while. It could be years.
2023 at the very earliest. I think. Yeah.
I mean, they originally announced 11 for the NX back in the day, so that took a long time for 11 to come out. Took a bit. And but I like the idea of the worldwide release. I think that's awesome because we're starting to see that trend now. We're like, we just talked about Lost Judgment, that's getting the worldwide release, and that's from Sega. Like that's pretty impressive that they're able to do that, really. But then we're seeing it now with like Square and the Dragon Quest series. So it makes me hopeful for things like the next big Persona game when that comes out, as an example, that we're just gonna have these worldwide releases across the board now for bigger games, really. Overall.
Because you lose out when you don't do that. In my opinion, you got people on YouTube that can play the game, so people get spoiled. Sega's always worried about spoilers, and then they always complain and say, "Oh, well, you can't stream it." Dude, the game came out a freaking year ago. Like, people have been seeing it. It's all over YouTube. You got people who can speak Japanese. It's not like people can't translate or do fan patches and do different things now. So I mean, like, they're sitting there and getting upset about it, and then like it's like, well, you need to release the game on time then for everybody. Stop releasing a year beforehand. So I think it just helps out everybody this way. If it's not ready until I know I don't want to make Japanese people wait for the game, but I mean, we gotta wait for it so you guys can wait for it too. Like it's like for like the launch of everything. So
it was good though. It was good. So I'm excited to look forward to that. Hopefully seeing at least maybe an initial teaser for it maybe next year or something when they're ready to show it. So that was Dragon Quest, and we also had another live stream. This one was for Horizon Forbidden West. It's about 16 minutes of gameplay, another 3 or 4 minutes of story, and just kind of going over some of
14 minutes of gameplay, 6 minutes of elements.
Thank you.
Well, the only reason I know that is because I thought the other 6 minutes was going to be other and I was like, oh, okay, I wonder what they're going to show in that 6 minutes. And they're like, oh, we're just going to talk about what we showed you now. And I was like, oh.
Hold on. What was did anyone watch the pre-stream for that thing?
Yeah, no. I watched a little bit of it.
What was the pre-stream? Because apparently it was hours of something. What was it?
It was 5 hours of landscapes.
Yeah, it was in-engine landscapes shown at different times of day to see how the effects work, and day, dusk, dawn, all of it.
Really?
Yeah.
The Decim engine, man.
It looks incredible. Okay. It does look incredible.
Yeah.
That was so good that the next day Ubisoft was like, you know what? We'll start our show and then say, all right, here's 30 minutes of the same thing until we decide to actually go live.
All right, then. So Forbidden West, I think it looked awesome.
Yeah,
it looked very good.
They fixed the problem that I had with the game.
What was the problem?
Melee. I couldn't stand the melee. And now it's like, okay, you improved it. I am on board. Day one.
It looked good. They had the nice little glider there from Breath of the Wild, which worked out well for her as he was kind of gliding down with the big mammoth chasing. But they showed off the underwater stuff, which I feel like a lot of people were really impressed by that. That was yeah, it looked probably the best of the whole thing was when Aloy kind of dove underwater and showed those effects. But I mean, they show off like the zip line grappling hook thing. It's just, to me, it looks like a more improved Horizon Zero Dawn. Like, it looks like they took what they had and they built on top of it. And they're like, all right, here, we looked at the feedback, went through everything. We're going to make this game a bit better. And the game looks good, but I feel like there was still this notion of people online realizing that this is still going to be a PS4 title. So on like the PS5, it's going to look just like a shinier version of the PS4 title on the PS5. So I have noticed that there does appear to be some concern that things are being held back as well for this version on the PS5.
So this game started out as a PS4 game as far as its development. And I think it's still, it still has that element to this game that it does look like a PS4 game in some ways. But I think as time progresses, it will start to become a true next gen game. But it is going to run on both, so they have to, keep that in mind that it's going to be a cross-gen game.
This is the interesting thing with this one. I feel like there were times with Horizon Zero Dawn that there was stuff that was cut out because it wouldn't work on the PS4. And I want to say it had to do with like flying enemies, if I'm not mistaken. I feel like it was one thing that was brought up. And I feel like if they were going to tackle that here, they would have shown it off during the gameplay. So I do wonder if that's something that they're like, well, it's still got to be on the PS4. We can't quite do that.
One thing that I think that maybe was cut out because maybe it's on PS. I still think the game looks amazing. But I thought there might be improvement to like the physics and like how like you interact with the world and like can you cut down stuff, can you manipulate, and I don't think there is any of that. So maybe in the next Horizon game it'll be more interactive open world outside of what they've shown. So
I think I was more disappointed with the lack of free climbing. Like I thought they would look around and be like, okay, we get it. There was a lot of push for like what we saw. Like Breath of the Wild came out right next to it, and like in Horizon Zero Dawn, to me, its biggest weakness going from one to the other for Horizon Zero Dawn was that you can't just climb up something or the side. You got to go around or like, and when they showed it off here, they showed that you had to highlight certain spots that just turned yellow, and that's the part you could climb. And I was like, all right.
That's where I'm thinking maybe there was something that was kind of held back. I mean, I'm not sure, but I figured that they would kind of make it to where it was like that. But it is what it is. I don't know how they develop. Obviously, not a developer, and that's probably difficult to do with what they're trying to go with the game. So.
Sure, I get that, but like you see like Assassin's Creed doing it pretty well, and it's just it still does come up where you're like, that would have been a cool thing to see. But they might have scripted events or different things that could break in the game, so they don't want to go that far into it. But the fact that she's diving underwater now, she has those extra ways to traverse. I think they could add some pretty cool things in interactions with enemies and puzzles and all kinds of stuff here. So, and of course, the world is probably going to be pretty large. So I'm looking forward to it. But here's the big thing: no release date.
Yeah, I was half expecting at least a window.
I was thinking that too, but maybe they're going to do it at E3.
Well, I mean,
it won't be at E3.
I don't think so.
Yeah, Sony's not on E3.
They're doing a presentation right alongside of E3. They already said it.
No, to me, this feels like it's about a year away. And they're not committing.
Okay. So MVG, this is an interesting thing because I've seen this brought up too. So you think it's going to fall to 2022?
Yeah.
I kind of wonder if it's going to.
Probably springtime, I would think.
With the lack of a release date, I 100% think it's coming in 2022 now.
I'm saying 2021.
I'd like to see it.
I do feel like this. Like I feel like Sony has this in their like penciled in as their big holiday title for 2021, but I really do feel like it has a chance of falling to 2022 and maybe first quarter.
It's got to come out this year. They need that big holiday game, right?
Hey, yeah, I mean, God of War hasn't been talked about. That could.
Oh gosh,
that's well, we already know that's next year. That's a next.
No, we don't know that. We guess.
Yeah,
we don't know that.
Officially, we don't know that. Officially, Ragnarok is 2021.
Yeah.
But we all know that. Okay, you guys are right about that. But
we all said Horizon 2021. But look, that might be.
They reconfirmed. They haven't spoke about God of War again since then, though. So like they reconfirmed it for 2021. So at least we have that with Horizon. At least there's that. So
I'm just excited that they did the one thing that I've wanted for some video games. Just come up with a device that when I'm underwater, I don't have a time limit. And I figure out, let me get to the surface and breathe real quick. As I saw her underwater, I'm like, okay, she's been down there for a while. Okay, she's still down there, and there's no time limits. And they're like,
I thought
breathe freely. And I was like, oh, thank you. I hate games like, obviously there's a reason for it, sure, but like, I don't know, I like having that freedom of just like, okay, I don't have every 5 seconds have to rush to the surface, but. Yeah, especially with how interesting it looked underwater. It almost like they're going to have you do a lot of exploring down there too. I really hope that Guerrilla after this, their next game before a third Horizon, they have to make another Killzone now. Like with what they can do, like say what I would like about, to see that. Shadowfall, like whether it's a decent game or not, that game looked great for the start of the tour.
Okay. Hold on 1 second. All right. So when I will say this about Killzone Shadowfall, when that was shown, I didn't really see anyone question if that was a next gen title when it was shown visually. Yeah. Mm-hmm. A lot of people were like, oh yeah, that looks next gen to me. Okay, cool. Like it looked really, really good. Now, how it played and all that, okay, I get that. Yeah. But when they had to show the visuals, it looked really good, right? Whereas people are looking at Horizon like, yeah, it looks bad. I just don't think it blew anyone away like people were expecting it to necessarily. But
it also at a very spoiled point in what gaming can look like.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, has anything we've seen so far from the Series X or the PlayStation 5 been like, okay, that's a next gen game?
Ratchet and Clank.
Do you think?
Yes.
Yeah. Ratchet and Clank.
Yes. I think the tech within it, like the fact that you can just kind of like pull the worlds, like that to me was the most impressive. I was like, oh yeah, like with that and on top of it, the graphics, both of those connected. The gameplay looks very much like what we've played with Ratchet outside of like pulling mechanic.
Do you see the comparisons online of like them taking like Ratchet's model from the PS5 version, this newer one, and then like the PS4 version? Like it looks so much better on the PS5.
It looks better than the 2016 movie. Like it's crazy that the video game looks better than what a movie quality could produce.
Yeah, so I that's the one to me that's out there right now that I look at and say, yeah, it looks next gen. I mean, I guess we're gonna find out also in like a week and a half when it's actually in front of us on our TV. But
also the thing though, Horizon's the worlds are going to be much bigger, like in terms of where you can go. So it's not going to be able to look as. I mean, if they closed it off,
it doesn't look bad. The game looks incredible still. Yeah, knock that. The game looks gorgeous, But I'm just excited what Guerrilla can do going forward for a game that's specifically a PlayStation 5 game. Like if they make another Killzone or when they make Horizon 3 and it's only on the PlayStation 5 and there's no having to worry about a previous gen version, I think their limitations are going to go sky high. Like it's going to be even better than what we think it is. And we're already getting visuals from the end of the PS4 and that co-release that are already still kind of like very impressive. So to see what we actually get for true next gen visuals and effects, we still have a long time until we see that stuff. We're not getting any games this year and part of next year that are going to really show that. But I mean,
think about what we just saw with Horizon Forbidden West, where it looks really, really good, but they're still accounting for the PS4 version. Now think of like, okay, God of War, let's say that's a PS5 exclusive. I mean, that's going to look ridiculous.
If it's an exclusive.
Is it?
Well, I mean, Sony didn't include it in their investors for PS4 games that are coming up.
Because they don't want investors to get mad at them for making it a PS4 game.
Why would they be mad? They're like, wow, that's 120 million more people we can sell it to.
Hey.
I have a feeling investors are like, yeah, get that on the. Investors are telling them to get that on the phone. That's what they're telling them.
I don't think investors really give a damn because the PS5 is selling out, so they're just like, sweet money.
Question I have: how do I get a direct line of contact with these people? I'm an investor for Nintendo. Okay, I should be able to tell them what the fuck to do. I don't understand this. The whole thing, investors say this, investors say that. Well, I'm an investor. Is there a club I need to join or something?
Yeah, you have to own at least 1% of the company, not 1/1000th of a cent.
I own 12 shares.
Did you not get a prospectus?
Wait, did they give you a name tag at your seat? Like where they tape it to the chair? Oh, man.
I need all of
free coffee in the break room? Nothing?
Bunch of bullshit.
What would the question be, Sean, that you would ask if you went there at the investors meeting for Nintendo? They're like, yeah, one question you can ask for a Kawad right here, right now.
That's tough.
See, you're not even ready. What if it happened right now?
It's not going to happen right now. I would have time to prepare. You got to go there or something. Unless they called me.
You blew it, Sean.
I do see you on like the plane, like writing on a piece of paper. What do I ask?
And I would be writing it. I wouldn't like jot it down on my phone because I'm
wait, hold on. Would you get there and like take a crumbled piece of paper out of your pocket and like read it to him?
It'd be the airplane napkin that he just drink on, so there's a stain on it and everything.
I did a video game convention, and I did a panel there, and I had my thing that I was going to talk about written down on a piece of paper. 5 minutes before the panel, I went outside to smoke a cigarette, and I was hanging out with my buddy who came with me. And so I finished my cigarette, I went inside, and so my panel was starting. I'm reaching in my pockets. I'm like, where the fuck is my piece of paper? Lost the piece of paper. So I had to wing the whole panel, which luckily I learned that I could wing panels pretty easily. And then when I went back outside after my panel and I found it where it was laying on the ground where I was smoking a cigarette. It must have fell out of my pocket.
That might be the most tame story you've ever told.
It's pretty tame.
I was waiting for the twist at the end where like, somebody
like someone stole it from your pocket and you punched them in the face and then you got stabbed.
No.
I thought there was gonna be like a hooker that parachuted down and like stole some, like picked you up and I don't know. That's what I thought.
Some of the stories aren't too bad.
I mean, I did see you at a panel where you did wing the whole thing anyway. So you seem to do that a lot. Yeah. All right. Evan, we got any Discord questions over there?
Yeah, one about the Horizon showcase. This person watched it and then realized how many cutscenes games have these days. Is anyone else bothered by this?
How many cutscenes are in games?
Yeah. Like, would you rather experience the story? Well, would you rather experience the story in like a cinematic thing that like stops you from controlling it and you have to watch it, or would you rather experiencing it in, let's say, like the older Halo way, where like you're still playing and then stuff is happening on a larger scale?
I mean, when did Metal Gear Solid 4 came out? Because I literally watched movies of that game while it was going on, and that was like over
Metal Gear Solid 3, Metal Gear Solid 2, Metal Gear Solid 1.
I don't think
there's tons of fucking stories.
It's much of a problem anymore. I think we go back two generations ago, and you have the cutscene that would look so great, and you get the gameplay cutscene where it would look so different.
Oh yeah.
And now we're at a point where the cutscenes in the gameplay background, and if it's not a cutscene, looks so similar that it really doesn't matter either way.
You see it mostly like the cutscenes now are like basically created in engine anyway, so they're getting more and more to the point where they're having you play these cutscenes, essentially play them out yourself.
We have to remember that this presentation was a very well curated demonstration. So it's not necessarily going to be indicative of the actual game as far as the amount of cutscenes that we have.
Yeah, I kind of understand the idea of a lot of cutscenes and cinematics and stuff, but we're just to the point, like I said, where they're just having us control the cutscenes almost now. Whereas back in the day, you would sit there and put the controller down for like 30 minutes sometimes, depending on the game, like Metal Gear Solid, for example. And hey, we loved it because the story was very interesting in those games. And the visuals at the time, when like Metal Gear Solid 2 dropped on the PS2, you would just kind of sit there and watch it for a bit because it looked so good.
The AI was so good at the time.
Oh yeah, absolutely, it was like
amazing.
Yeah.
You know what was really cool though? What I liked, just real quick, was like it caught me off guard the first time. Was like Resident Evil, like when you actually like a prompt came up during the cutscene. I don't know if you guys remember that, right? With Resident Evil 4.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yep.
Stuff like that, or even like Mass Effect, like you can do like certain moments during the cutscenes. Paragon or Renegade, stuff like that. I like when they kind of mix it up a little bit with the cutscenes.
The best was Silent Hill 2, where at the start of the game, he's in the bathroom looking in the mirror, and like he's just looking in the mirror, and then you realize, oh shit, I can control him now, and it doesn't tell you that you can control the character. It just happens. I love that.
We got another Discord question, Evan?
Tech question. If you play a PlayStation 4 game on an external hard drive on a PS5, do you lose anything other than, let's say, the faster load times, like resolution and things like that?
No, just mostly load times. Yeah. So honestly, if you don't mind the extra couple of seconds, just put it on your hard drive and save yourself the storage space.
All right,
that's the way I would do it.
We got a Dragon Quest 12 question. Do we think it could, because of how long these usually take, do we think it could end up on the Switch's successor? I don't know if that means what we've been talking about or even the next one. I don't know.
That's interesting because the idea of the Switch Pro is that it would phase out the current Switch. So by the time 12 comes around, we may not even really be thinking too much about the Switch we have now. So it could be a cross-gen title for the... I mean, Nate, let's say the Switch Pro really moves units like crazy, right? It comes in at like 350 and then it drops to 300 towards the end. And there's like several of them out there, like 10, 20, maybe even 30 million, depending on how it really moves. I mean, if you're Square, maybe it's a cross-gen title for Pro, and then the next Switch on Unreal Engine 5.
I mean, maybe. It depends when the game releases. If it's coming out in 2023, then yeah, that's probably the path that they would look at. If it's coming out in, let's say, super soon, it's 2022, then they'll probably still have the base Switch in mind, because that's going to have the larger user base. But I mean, we're talking about a project that we don't know if it's 12 months, 24, 36, or 48 months away from release. So, I mean, it's really hard to guess at this stage of the game.
Right. I mean, at that point, they might even look and be like, all right, there's like 100 million regular Switches, so maybe we'll just make it its own version of 12 if we have to.
Yeah, I mean, even with 11, it took them to get a different version of Unreal Engine 4 to bring it to the Switch. They waited for an update so they could get the game running at a level that they felt was well optimized. So, I mean, Unreal Engine 5 is in such an early state. Yeah. It just became open for, I believe, the public beta for developers, because I had a friend send me a bunch of stuff that they were working on. So, I mean, we are a long way away before we're really going to see anything utilizing Unreal Engine 5 in any meaningful way in terms of an actual release using the engine.
Okay. There we go. Are we have any other Discord questions left, Evan, before I move over to some of these super chats?
Based off of how the Game Awards usually pick their nominees, is there ever a chance someone like Scott the Woz could be nominated for Content Creator of the Year?
Yes. I'm going to say yes. Yeah.
He'll probably be nominated this year. To be honest, he'll probably be nominated this year.
Let's see. We have some super chats here. Base says, could Microsoft use the storage expansion slot as a way to make game cartridge based? It would be expensive for developers, however. I think they're just looking to go digital as soon as they can.
We've joked about this, but you never know. Could happen.
Yeah, didn't we joke about this with John Linneman?
We did. Just give us Call of Duty on a...
Gosh. They're going to sell you the external. Maybe that's what they should do. Maybe what they should do is Call of Duty should partner with Seagate or something, and if you buy an external hard drive, it already has Call of Duty on there taking up the entire external hard drive.
Nah, it would have to be Western Digital for their Black Series because it looks military. It'd just be perfect.
There you go. Tariq says, Capcom needs to put AVP Arcade on Switch. What do you think about that, Sean? Alien vs. Predator Arcade.
He thinks he's peeing.
He thinks he's peeing.
I would love that. AVP. I don't think there's a home version of that game ever, so give us AVP.
There we go. Edward says, any news on Omen, Forza Horizon 5, and Avowed being at E3, Nate?
Stay tuned for when MVG, myself, and maybe Randall Thor give our E3 predictions video the week leading up to E3.
We already talked about Forza Horizon 5 and that it would be there, though.
I stand by what I said.
Okay. Forza Horizon 5 coming in. TJ says, I was wondering if any of you pre-ordered Scarlet Nexus yet, like I did, and what y'all think of the demo now that it's on PS4 and PS5. I played the demo on the Xbox. I liked it. I thought it was cool.
I haven't tried it yet.
Thought it was fantastic. It was really, 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 really good.
It's a short demo, Jordan. It's like just download and play through pretty quick, but I like the combos that they have in there. I liked I was playing as the one guy with like kind of the psychic abilities, the ability to move different things in the environment around. And they had some cool set pieces, I guess, where you could like crush different enemies with that. And they had like the skill tree kind of in there too. And I was playing around with that, but I think I'm just ready for the game to come out, and I'll check it out when it drops over the summer.
Apparently, though, John, the PS5 version has really good usage of the adaptive triggers, so you might want to check out that one too. Yeah, everyone's been telling me about that, so I was like, okay, let me check it out on there too.
I'll check the demo out for the PS5 because I still haven't decided which system I'm going to get it on. But if it uses the DualSense in an interesting way, then I'd probably grab it on there, to be honest. Ross says, what do each of you think this new Switch will be called? New Super Nintendo Switch Pro XL and Knuckles is my current bet. I'm going with, you know what? I'm going to go with Super Nintendo Switch because that'd be awesome. So I probably won't do it.
Be a great name.
Nintendo 32X.
See?
New Nintendo.
You could write a whole book about that, wouldn't you?
I would.
Mm-hmm.
They'd ask you to leave the focus group, Sean. What'd you say, OJ?
New Nintendo Switch new.
New Nintendo Switch new.
New news.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You think because the screen is supposed to be larger in size, like the way it looks, they'll just call it the Switch XL?
Good.
Would they do that? Would they pull that?
They're playing around with older device now. Like we had like the Switch Lite, so that was just like a guess we had, and it came true. So they might be playing with older stuff, or they could just copy the 3DS and be like, here's the new one, here's an XL.
Or was it a guess? Corey says RGT comedy goals.
Thank you.
David says we confirmed on OJ's stream earlier that Xenoblade Chronicles X is coming to Switch. Get hyped. All right, good stuff. Looking forward to that.
What? No such thing was.
I like Xenoblade Chronicles X.
I would buy that.
Come to that conclusion.
Me too. I would definitely buy that.
And knowing
right
OJ
away.
confirmed it, that's fantastic.
Yeah, thanks, OJ.
Yeah, OJ, why are you holding out?
Is there a video on this?
No such. I did not confirm that.
Video on this.
What the hell,
Hold on,
man?
You gotta check recent error for the post. Let's see. That pixelated pigeon says thoughts on Sega's Sonic anniversary presentation. Sonic appearing in Tokyo Olympics 2020 and 2 Point Hospital is as weird as it is hilarious.
Dude, the Tokyo one literally looks like a dude in a Sonic costume. Yeah. I love it.
It does. It looks like a dude in a Sonic. It's like Fidel in a Sonic costume running around there.
Oh, Nate's fans here. Killer of Xbox says my sources. Nate, you're a con. You have no sources.
I love him.
Dedication. HB says thoughts on Sonic Colors Ultimate. I think the addition of Colors DS, arguably the better version, would have made it a must buy. I think there's enough people who probably just didn't play it because it was on the Wii. Like now compared to then. So I actually think it'll do well. It's priced at $40. I think the art style and the visuals will translate well over to 1080p and 4K. So, and it's one of the better 3D Sonic games. So
I was able to get my pre-order through now, so I got it pre-ordered.
Nice.
Someone's been messing up lately though, because I pre-ordered Maneater on the Switch, and then I was like, yeah, I don't know.
Hold on. What?
Listen to my story. I pre-ordered it because I felt like it was going to be a limited physical release, and I was like, oh, this might be worth some dough. It's only, they had it on sale for like $32, and like the day came and went and it came out, and I was like, I wonder where my copy is. And I looked and they were like, we're still gathering information. And then like 2 days later, they're like, we're still gathering information. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. So I ended up downloading it on Game Pass. Somehow I've put like 25 hours into it already, and that's like all I've been playing.
It's a pretty cool game. I like Maneater a lot when it came out.
It reminds me, what's weird though? I feel like Jaws had better combat, like because there's no lock on in the game, right? Like you could just
click. I'm trying to remember. It's been a little while since I played it.
The combat just feels loosey goosey. Like I feel like there should have been a lock on for the bigger enemies that you encounter.
Yeah, but when it hits and everything clicks together, when you're doing combat, it feels awesome. Like you just explode out of the surface and
I'm like
grab
level 26 right now. I'm already an elder.
I remember I tried to keep explaining this game to people, and I'm like, yeah, it's an action adventure RPG where you're a shark.
Is it like Shark on the Intellivision?
No, I think it's a little more intricate, just slightly, but
Maneater's good. If anyone's curious, it's worth the download on Game Pass. There you go.
Yeah, no, it really is. Especially if you have Game Pass, like there's no reason for you not to get it.
Johnny says, I'll be starting streaming on Twitch and covering gaming on YouTube. I've been on YouTube since January, and tips for a new gaming YouTube and Twitch channel.
Have fun.
Have fun. Be consistent. Don't be discouraged.
And don't look at it as a business. Look at it as a hobby. And if it starts to become a business, then analyze it as a business.
And if you're not having fun, just walk. Honestly.
Yeah. I always tell people find your niche and make sure you nail that. If you try to do everything, you're going to be overwhelmed. Or if you try to be like this person or this person, find what you like, and that'll bring you passion with it. So too many times people just try to get in and I'm just going to do whatever. I'm going to cover everything. If you don't like everything, then don't cover everything. You don't have to be all over everything, so find what you like and nail it. That's what I always tell people.
Shadow of Nexus says, will the Switch have Netflix? That sounds like a next gen feature to me, Nexus.
Nope.
I hope not.
I hope not. Captain Bone says, I got the second dose and I feel like I'm dying. The Spawncast is cheering me up. Thanks, guys.
I was doing that last week while on the Spawncast. It was not fun. So hang in there.
9 of 13 says, thoughts on Biomutant. I pre-ordered on PS4. Don't have Mercenary class. THQ says patch on the way, so I haven't started the game yet. Waiting for patch. I've actually been pretty disappointed in Biomutant, to be honest.
I have a review copy and I haven't played it yet.
I was looking forward to it. I was like, this could be good. It seems like, because they had like 20 or 25 people making it, it seems like everyone had a bunch of ideas and they just didn't have time to see them all to the finish line. So it feels like stuff was thrown all over the place, unfortunately. Like the inventory and your character equipment screen is so strange. It's way more complicated overall than it needs to be. And unfortunately, the world feels kind of janky, almost like I guess like an older Elder Scrolls game almost. It's very weird. Like you get stuck on environments like cliff sides and everything. I don't know. It just, unfortunately, it's not super polished in general. So, but hey, they could release patches over time and maybe the game will get better. We'll see. But I do understand there were not a lot of people working on it, so I'm going to cut them some slack on it. Robert, no message here. Thanks, Robert. Liam says if the Switch Pro release and the Microsoft Nintendo collaboration are both rumored for September, could the collab be Game Pass exclusively for Switch Pro?
When was the Microsoft Nintendo collaboration rumored for September? It was just rumored for later this year.
Later for this year. Nate. Wait, hold on, Nate. Why'd you bring it? Why are you talking about September now? They just kind of said it in September. Yeah, they said it in passing. Why are you bringing it up again? What, something happened in September, Nate? You
specifically mentioned September.
Let me go ahead and open up the browser here.
Mentioned the month. I'm saying, why is there any expectation of the collaboration in September?
It's later this year is when I guess the rumor is for Microsoft Nintendo. But I mean, a lot of stuff's all of a sudden happening with Nintendo and Microsoft. So I guess you never know. There was that Switch on Phil's shelf.
It's gonna be weird when the collaboration's just something trivial, and
it'll probably just be a partnership between Microsoft and Nintendo for like Azure or something like that.
A rare replay. Like fuck.
No, that sounds too good. That sounds too good. Like that would actually make me happy. They can't change.
I'm an investor and let them know.
Ooh. I am an investor of Microsoft. Hold on.
Then let them know.
Hold on. Let me see how much Microsoft.
Call up Phil and be like, listen, here's.
I wish crypto wasn't in the fucking toilet. I have 4.59 shares of Microsoft.
Just enough. You barely made it in.
Oh my gosh. Matt Numi says Emily Rogers is Nate's uncle who works at Nintendo.
Plausible.
Okay. What? This is it's from Killer of Xbox. Once again, Schreier and Noptra are 100% accurate. Nate piggybacking them.
Wait, hold on, fucker. Then you're comparing like a Switch Pro and shit because Schreier's talking about it. You can't have your cake and eat it too here, buddy.
Why can't you eat the cake?
Old Taco says, any idea why some old games look completely different going from a CRT to LCD, like Resident Evil 4, Halo 2, and Majora's Mask?
Yes.
The CRT just disguised a lot of issues with these games, I'll say.
Well, I mean, you got to think of the maximum resolution of a CRT TV. Plus, you have to also think of what you were using on a CRT TV. What kind of CRT TV? Was it only, were you using just composite cables? Were you using component cables? Did the TV allow for component cables? Like, it makes a difference what type of CRT.
The TV, it was whatever the TV itself usually fuzzed out the edges anyway a little bit. So it was almost like built-in anti-aliasing.
Had to use the VCR to get it to the TV anyway.
It's also, contrast and color depth and all that stuff. It just looks, the old stuff looks so much better on a CRT. It's just a fact,
Unless you get a RetroTink 5X.
That's why a lot of the games that come up from then have that filter built into their emulation to be like, let me make this look like a CRT again.
Joe said, Joe said, didn't Emily say it could be announced after E3? I could see it announced in July. I feel like a lot of things changed very recently because all of a sudden everything changed online for a lot of these people with the Switch Pro out of nowhere. So I think things were moving on the fly there with these developers and publishers. T-Joe says, I want to know, is Scarlet Nexus a AA or AAA game? I think it's AAA. It's got the production values minus the still images, cutscenes, and marketing, and it's from Bandai Namco. Is this a AA or AAA game, OJ?
We talked about this earlier, and this is stupid. I don't know what it's just the game, and
I don't know what it is either. I mean, I think the only time we've ever had AA or AAA described or defined was by Ubisoft, and they said a $50 million budget, but that's just Ubisoft's definition of it. So
Platinum Games definition, they said, oh, well, ours is 10 million plus. So everybody has their own, and they said AAA, right? Everybody has their own budgets, have their own thing. Like if you go on Wikipedia or whatever, if you go on, they'll say, oh, well, it's going to be one of the best selling games of the year. That it's going to be one of you have the biggest budget best-selling games of the year. That does not describe Scarlet Nexus at all, you know?
No,
it looks great, but it's not going to be one of the best-selling games of the year, and it sure as hell doesn't have one of the biggest budgets of the year. So I just see it as it's a really cool-looking game. It's, you know, they know it. Bandai Namco, they make games. It looks good. I mean, but then again, look at the game again. It's not like it's not like Horizon, or it's not like Ratchet and Clank. You know what I'm saying? Like it's nowhere near that. Actually, Astral Chain looks better in some areas. You know what I mean? Resolution aside, Astral Chain looks actually better in a lot of different areas in that, you know, when you compare the two, because I was recently playing Astral Chain. So, you know, just don't think of it as AA or AAA. Just think of it as it's a cool game that you can play, you know?
Dragon Fist says Nintendo usually keeps things pretty close to the chest. I'll wait for an official announcement. Have any of you guys ever heard the gospel before?
Like Jesus?
I don't know.
Yeah, like the Bible.
Some guy tried to tell me at the gas station. I did not listen.
John over here.
The capitalized G. I don't know. I guess.
So I guess we're talking about the biblical gospel.
Edward King says, Nate, you think the new RPG Candace is at E3?
No.
Don't answer that.
Don't.
Don't answer it.
David says, oh, this is for you, Sean. What does licking the tip mean? Never heard this.
You know, like when you have like an ice cream cone or a lollipop or you know, even a popsicle. Popsicle's a good one. You know, you want to enjoy the whole popsicle. You don't just lick it, the tip of it, and then walk away.
What's your favorite flavor of popsicle?
I like cherry.
Okay.
Yeah, makes sense.
Stuff says, do you think an archival edition of games using the expandable storage slot on the Xbox would sell, say, a drive with the full game and room for updates? Oh, like if they, I mean, they could do a storage expansion. It just comes with a game on it. Like if they get branded or something, like we mentioned with Call of Duty. But I don't mind the idea of them playing around with ideas of putting a game just on the storage device to make it maybe more appealing at retail. Dragon Fist says, do you think Nintendo will split the player fan base by not making the new Switch backwards compatible with the games playable in the current model?
They're not going to split the fan base.
No, I would say the new Switch is going to absolutely play the same cartridges in all of this. They'll just get patches. Yeah. Yep. And Fish Fan says, RGT any good? Gma eats this week.
I didn't see her this week because I'm seeing her. She's integral part of the party tomorrow. So I think she tried to pull a fast one on me. She was like, I'm going to take some of your clothes and towels home and wash them. I'm like, all right. She grabs the Patrick Ewing jersey. I'm like, what are you doing? She was like, what? You need to wash it. You probably never wash it. So I was like, look, this is a good luck jersey. Okay. Because the day before I saw her was game 1. And we lost, and I was wearing the Julius Randle jersey, and I was like, I'm not fucking wearing this thing again. Need to go back to the Ewing. And then we won game 2, and I was like, no. You put this down. It never gets washed.
What happened when they lost the other game?
I wasn't wearing the right hat.
Oh, got it.
I wore the black Knicks hat, the black Knicks hat. I got to go back to this.
Where did you have the remote, Sean? Where was the remote in the room at the time?
On the couch. I'm probably gonna move the remote.
How do you have game 1 was the jersey and it wasn't that you had the wrong hat on?
Nope. Right armrest, Sean. Need that remote on the right armrest.
We've got to switch things up tomorrow.
Yep. Monato Mario says, nah, just like with Zelda Amiibo, they will complain and then blame the Nintendans when the game sold well.
Okay, I wasn't here for the Zelda Amiibo talk last week, but fuck that thing. I think it's absolute bullshit. And it's ridiculous that people are justifying it. The most expensive amiibo, it's $25, and it literally puts in a quality of life feature in the game that everyone should be able to experience. And if you disagree with me, great. That's awesome. I don't care. This is just my opinion.
Okay. Christopher says, in regards to the Tokyo RPG Factory, do you feel that they are succeeding in their mission in making JRPGs inspired by Square games from the 90s?
No. No. Like, have you seen the games that they made? Don't get me wrong. I mean, I know they're trying, but no. What have they succeeded in? No. Absolutely not. Negative.
Then we have, I think I got all the live streams, some of the bigger reveals from the week. Let's go over to our final topic, which is Uncharted on the PC, because Sony announced to their investors that the next big Sony game they're making the jump is going to be Uncharted 4, which surprised some people online, but I think it's pretty much the status quo for Sony now is to continue exploring their games on PC. I kind of wondered if it would be God of War next, but nope, they're going with Uncharted 4 without 1, 2, and 3 apparently.
So
here's the thing.
Confused.
I don't understand the backlash towards it. I could sort of understand when you're talking about how a game will come out on Xbox and PC on the same day. Okay, that makes a little sense. We're talking about games that are 3-4 years old. Days Gone, Horizon Zero Dawn, Uncharted 4. Even if you're the most, because I'm one of those weirdos. I don't like to see. I like exclusives because I think exclusives are important. But if the exclusives are old, who gives a fuck? Like, what I don't understand why it matters. It's ran its life on the initial console or system that it was supposed to be on. So, even the most diehard Sony fans, like, I don't understand, or the ponies as they're called, I don't understand why they're like so mad about it. Like, it's bizarre to me.
From what I've been able to gather is that there is concern that Sony will eventually get to the point where it's day one release on PC as well.
How does that impact a PlayStation 5 owner? If you have a high-end PC that's probably matching or outperforming a PlayStation 5, cool. Buy the game on your PC and experience in the best way possible. How does this impact or lessen their experience on the PlayStation 5 in any way whatsoever that a different audience gets to play Sony-made games? It's not like it's coming to Xbox or a Nintendo. It's just the PC. So I don't understand what the big deal is either. It seems like a trivial thing of just saying, I'm a big Sony fan. How dare you play that Sony game not in a Sony box? Gives a fuck. Like,
and I mean,
literally cares.
And that's a whole nother thing. I used to be like, I don't, console exclusive, if it's on PC. But I mean, at the end of the day, if it's not a multi-platform console game and it's PC and PS5 or PC and, Xbox, like,
It's also not new either. They've been doing this for quite a while now. I mean, Heavy Rain and Detroit and those games, they're already come to the PC. I mean, I agree with you guys. I don't really see this as a big deal. It is a little surprising that they did pick Uncharted 4 as the next game. Like, I feel like something like Bloodborne is still something that I would prefer to see.
What? I kind of think, and I was kind of going over this a bit. I almost feel like Sony is saving some of like a Bloodborne or like a God of War now that they've just gone with Uncharted 4 now. Just, it seemed like a strange one to me because there were other games they could have picked. That's what really caught me off guard. I almost feel like they're saving some of these bigger games or games that would get more buzz almost for when they're ready to have their own launcher on PC.
Yeah, I think you're right. The other thing about the Uncharted is, where's the PS5 patch?
Okay, this is the big question, right? Like, where's the Horizon Zero Dawn patch?
Yeah. Where is the Horizon Zero Dawn patch? Where's the Uncharted 4 patch for PS5? And maybe that's why some of the Sony fans are getting a little upset about it. The PC is getting a superior version of the game, but they're not really looking after the people that own a PS5, which I mean can easily run that game at 60, at 4K. So maybe that's what the some of the people that are upset about this are saying.
Yeah, I feel like they have to get some patches out, like Horizon at like 30 frames and like Horizon Zero Dawn for the PS4 and like Uncharted 4. I mean, those are games that should just be unlocked completely on the PS5, and they should aim for that. It's very weird that Horizon is better on the PC than the PlayStation. Like, they give those games away basically now on the PlayStation. If you have the PlayStation Plus collection, you have Uncharted 4 already, and they just gave it to you. They just gave you Days Gone. So it's weird that they had they even had a patch for Ratchet. Like, that was good. It's like, I don't really know why they're not doing patches for the other games too. Maybe they will. Maybe that'll happen eventually. But I feel like Sony is certainly exploring PC now, because in that same slide, they said 250% return on investment for Horizon Zero Dawn when that went to PC.
Yeah, and this is the first time this is the first time Uncharted is leaving a Sony console, right?
Naughty Dog.
Yeah, it's a pretty big deal as well, that they're doing this. So I think they are giving this a lot of respect. But yeah, come on, Sony, give us a PS5 patch, because I like Uncharted 4 and I'd like to play that again at 60 on new hardware.
So the other thing they showed was, of course, their interest in mobile gaming. I don't think that's surprising either. Like, everyone's interested in mobile. Microsoft's interested in it with xCloud. Nintendo's even bent their rules of putting first-party titles on another platform by going what seems to be all in on mobile at this point, with everything going there just about. There'll probably be even a Zelda game at some point here in the future on mobile. So Sony doing that, not shocking or surprising there. But do you think it's going to be Bloodborne, MVG? Is that the next PC game we get?
I don't
Bloodborne
know.
Here?
I don't even know. I don't know if we'll see Bloodborne outside of the PS4, honestly. I mean, Lance McDonald is the only one that's got a 60 FPS version.
So much potential there, though, just being left.
They should just hire him and have him just make the official patch. And
you know what they could do? They could absolutely take that game, release it as a PS5 version, resell it, and people would buy it.
Yeah.
Like they could sell that game all over again. Maybe
absolutely. It's so hard playing the PS4 version. Like, it's just so jittery. It's just the frame choppiness and the pacing is just all messed up. It's almost hard. It's almost impossible to play that game again.
Yeah. But we'll see what the next big PC game. They didn't even say when Uncharted 4 is coming out. I assume it's end of this year, maybe, because that they just dropped Days Gone. So I would assume maybe October or something, Uncharted 4 shows up on PC. So we'll see. Do you think they will go eventually to a same day release PC and PlayStation sometime in the future? We'll say this generation.
Maybe,
no,
but I think it'll be specific titles only. What's the franchise? What's the first Sony franchise you think does that? Like, let's just say they are going to do it eventually. What's the first one they go? We'll do this one. Like, I could see like the next Last of Us being a day-and-date PC/PS5. I thought about maybe Factions. Like, if they do a Factions like its own release, I could see that being a cross like platform release on PC as well, since that would fall under live services for them. Yep. But I couldn't see like a Spider-Man or something like that being day-and-date on the PC. I want to see Gran Turismo. I think would be awesome on PC because you got the big widescreen monitors and like crazy frame rates.
Yeah, like one of those cool chairs that like interacts with it.
Yeah, like Forza, like people go all out with Forza on PC. So to see Gran Turismo show up there would be really cool. But I do think they want their own launcher, and I feel like they probably don't want to go all in on PC if they still have to give Steam 30% of their cut. So that's certainly something they've gotten used to with their own platform, is not having to give that cut. So that's what I would say there. Evan, do we have any more Discord questions left?
Yeah, I guess just one. This was pulled from a Twitter post by one of our people in Discord, and it's specifically for Sean. I'll try to read this properly. Are there any Knicks fans, like people who watch Knicks games and cheer them on and everything? I know there are some other teams that have people like that.
Are you kidding me? Did you not see Madison Square Garden for games 1 and 2? It's the most boisterous of any crowd, and it's all Knicks fans. Did you not see the amount of Knicks fans that are watching in Atlanta? The team that doesn't have fans is Brooklyn. Brooklyn has no fans except for Jermaine on Twitter. He's like the one Brooklyn fan I know. Everyone else just watches Brooklyn, and they might like them because they're a super team, but they're not going to hang around when they're shit. The Knicks fans are you grow up a Knicks fan. You watch the Knicks, like that's your basketball team. Then yes, it's preposterous.
Like sort of indoctrinate.
It pretty much, it's like a cult, really.
Yeah, sounds like.
Gosh, let's go to your super chats. Pixelated Pigeon says favorite community surrounding a single game. When I was a kid, my favorite was the map building community of Quake 3.
Not anymore.
Community? Not anymore.
I mean, once the community's got the internet,
it's all over.
I don't know, dude. The Monster Hunter community has been absolutely phenomenal. Like, I would say the Monster Hunter community for me, they're very, very cool people. Everybody that I've met so far.
This is from Slayer saying, new to the stream, what's being seen? Oh, meant to say what is being discussed. I don't know when this one was sent.
A lot of things.
Everything. Trevor says, hoping to get a first look or progress update on Skate 4 this year.
I wouldn't hold your breath for it. It'd be cool to see something. I think if we hear anything, we're going to hear about it next year. But trust me, I would love for them to be like, and here's progress. Here's
That'd
a
be nice.
trailer. But
Yeah.
that's a very big ask. But hey, weirder things have happened. The fact that we're getting Skate 4 is the weirder thing that's happening. So
yeah, this is from Mr. Kane saying, just sold a GameCube interactive multi-game demo disc to obtain Def Jam Fight for New York. Right decision. Yes, Def Jam Fight for New York is awesome. And it's actually still pretty rare on the GameCube. I think it's just gone up in price. So
yes,
good call.
Expensive.
David says this is a down payment on a future question regarding OJ's presence on the Spawncast.
down payment.
Irvin, no message here. Thanks, Irvin. John says, do any of you guys own Nintendo stock?
Yes, 12 shares.
I do not.
Our investor.
Matt Anumi says, what's more comfortable, a Vita 1000 or Switch? Just got a Vita, and it's true the OLED blows you away. I still think the Vita is the perfect size system. Like,
I agree.
I think it is.
Yep.
But it also didn't have to be a hybrid device. It's just a handheld, and I think it's a very good handheld.
To be honest, man, I don't know. Maybe it's just because of my big old caveman hands, but Vita is not comfortable for me to play when dual analogs. It's just not. I'm not sure why. I still think it's good. It's nice. I do like the system, but there's just some stuff that just makes it a bit uncomfortable. But like I said, I have abnormally large hands for no reason. So
yeah, the Vita. If I go back to it now after the Switch, the Vita feels small in my hands.
Yeah.
You don't have like the claw grip with the Switch? You got a grip for your Switch?
I don't have a grip for my Switch.
Oh.
You need the fixture S1.
Oh.
It's the only way I play in handheld mode now.
There you go. Shinru says Sonic Rangers are the new Power Rangers. I'm down.
New Power Rangers game. Where is the power? Not a fighting game. I meant like an action.
Do we really though?
Game
Do we really?
Well, did you play the Power Rangers games back in the day?
Yeah,
they were good.
But now these are different Power Rangers. It's not our Power Rangers.
Yeah,
Were you just praising
Rangers.
Power Rangers Battle of the Grid last year, Sean?
Oh.
Yeah, because it has classic characters in it. It has fucking Goldar.
I want the classic.
Goldar's there. Thank
Luna says, do you guys expect Sonic Colors remake to be 60 FPS on the Switch, or should I get it for Xbox PS4? I expect it to be 60 on the Switch.
Better be 60.
Ross says all the Sonic games in Sonic Origins are the Christian Whitehead versions on mobile, and Sonic 3 and Knuckles is confirmed. It is also widescreen. Very good.
Yep.
Music says, to be fair, for a while, Sega listened to the fans before Heroes. Before with Heroes, Shadow, 06, and such, but that's just the Sonic fan base being divided. Aaron says, Super Sonic Maker. Yeah, why not? Will Banks says, say it again, Spawnwave. Why don't they do a 3D collection? I don't know. They hate money. Do you guys think those Zippo leaks are true of Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 remake being canceled? Hey, Zippo stuff aged pretty well. I'll give him that.
The problem with the 3D, because I've actually been playing Sonic Adventure on the Xbox One X or Series X. I mean, the camera and the controls suck ass.
Yep. But those things can be.
They can be fixed. Yeah, they would have to fix it. And to be fair, when you look at Sonic Gems collection on the GameCube, when you play Sonic R versus the Saturn version, night and fucking day difference. Yep. You can actually control the characters, but I feel like it does take away a little bit of the charm that the original game had.
This is from Jungle saying, I'm extremely underwhelmed by the new Sonic compilation. They could have easily put some more stuff like the adventure games, Game Gear titles, or Unleashed. Kroon says, MVG, when do we get the Vita port of Shantae? Asking the hard questions over here.
Unfortunately, there's no way that's going to happen.
Oh.
I mean, I'd love for it to happen, but Vita's a dead system, and it's been dead for about 18 months now.
Blame says, Spawncast deals with rare tech issues so well. Great production value, is the unsung hero of a well-run live stream. Y'all are pros. Thank you, Blame. B-Rai says, chance of Final Fantasy VI or Chrono Trigger HD 2D remake. You know what? They should. You know what? Do Chrono Trigger. That'd be cool.
Make a new Chrono Trigger game in that art style. That's what I want.
I'd be okay with that too. That'd be cool.
Chrono Trigger is perfect. It's perfect. You're gonna replay the same thing. That's already perfection. what they need to do is they need to advance the series. We need something new. Or at least, where is Chrono Cross? There's been no real release of, where's Chrono Cross? Like, we need something new. I get people like Chrono Trigger. That's the greatest thing ever. It's my favorite game of all time. But I've already beat the game. Like, legitimately, I've beat the game 100 times. Like, I need something new from the Chrono franchise. Like, we really do.
Mega says, hi, everyone. Do you think Dragon Quest 12 will release late for the Switch in a definitive edition like Dragon Quest 11? I kind of think that it's worldwide release. I kind of feel like they want to get it everywhere all at once if they can. So I'm kind of leaning that. Here's a good question. Actually, we'll answer it now, way before the game's even shown or comes out. They said they're going to go more mature direction with it. All right. Do you think they'll look into a mature rating on this Dragon Quest game?
No.
I think it'll be rated teen.
Yeah,
okay.
They're not gonna. I mean, that's the reason. No. It cannibalized their potential sales.
Exactly. I mean, and if you look at it, what is it like? I know like Uncharted games are like T, so you can get away with quite a bit and still be considered like a mature or darker theme. You can get away with some stuff. So I think if you limit it to mature rated, that's when things can kind of get a little bit dicey for sales wise. So.
This is Hector saying Horizon 2 looks amazing, but do you think they will downgrade Forbidden West on release? And if they were to, would it be a PR nightmare? No, I think what we saw, I mean, who knows what the PS4 version looks like, but I think what we saw is pretty much what we're going to get on the PS5 for the most part. Those will actually be some interesting comparisons, by the way, when Digital Foundry does their PS4 and PS5 stuff. That'd be kind of cool to see.
I also think we're at that point as well with gaming that we rarely get a game that looks so different from when they show it off to when we get it. Like the last big controversy was like what, Watch Dogs? Now I feel like we don't have that issue as much. Well, okay, got me there. I forgot about.
I mean, they took all the puddles out of Spider-Man.
Oh, okay, not Puddlegate.
Puddlegate. Oh no, ridiculous nonsense I've ever seen in my life.
Hear me out. 25 PlayStation games in the making and the IP collection growing. PlayStation All Stars 2. Let's check with Jim Ryan.
Jim?
Yeah, probably not.
Probably not. He says
probably not.
Dragon says, trying to buy my girlfriend a Switch to introduce her to gaming. What game do you recommend I purchase?
Well, I mean, first off, Buster, how serious is this relationship? We're talking like 1 to 3 months. If it's anything before 6 months, a used Switch Lite will get the job done. All right.
No. Instead of you can't even buy your girl a $200 Switch Lite, huh?
No, it's like 180. You gotta be careful, man.
I guess it depends on what she's into. I know popular games, obviously, like any of the Mario stuff's pretty straightforward. There,
Animal Crossing.
Animal Crossing's extremely popular. Snipper Clips is good if you're trying to do co-op stuff and all that's fun.
Throw a wild card game in there. Put like Marvel versus what was it? Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 in there. Why not?
Yeah. Hey, you can play that together. That's a good one.
Yeah, it's a good game too.
Tijo says, "What are your thoughts on cutscenes that use text boxes and still images?"
Ugh. That's my opinion now. I don't want to read anymore.
Thanks, Joe. You don't want to read anymore.
I don't want to read.
Gigi says, "Yo guys, have you seen my Scott the Waz Smash roster Photoshop on Twitter?"
Yes, I did see that.
That's yours. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I saw that too. That was actually really cool. 9 of 13 says, "I just played the Scarlet Nexus demo on PS4 already pre-ordered. Bring me more action JRPG games." Victor says, "Does Nier Replicant mean a lot more Nier games in the future?" I'm gonna say, yeah, we're gonna see more Nier. I would say we're gonna see more Nier.
More. I don't know about a lot more. But
I think we'll see another Nier game.
Yeah, there'll be another one, but I don't think it's gonna be like Final Fantasy or anything like that, or like Dragon Quest when it comes to the game output.
Andrew says a Pokemon Black and White HD 2D remake would be incredible.
Give it time. Give it another few more years, which we haven't even got Diamond and Pearl out yet.
Line says, "What's your thoughts on the UFO news?"
I've always believed.
Find out in a couple days.
I want to believe.
It doesn't necessarily mean aliens, though.
So who's in the UFO?
That's the mystery.
Is it a person?
Let's be realistic. There are countries out there like Russia, China, and especially North Korea. You don't know what the fuck's going on there. You don't know what sort of stuff they're doing and the sort of stuff they have. So, do I think there could be aliens? Of course I do. But Yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
Just keep.
I played way too much freaking Mass Effect, and almost at this point, I think it's real. It's just a matter of time that we find them.
We'll find out soon.
We're about to live in a world where aliens are going to be fully disclosed to the public, and Mother 3 still won't be localized.
Those people won't be able to handle that shit.
That's 2021 for you.
It's going to be up to Nintendo to localize Mother 3 to cover it all up.
It's up to Reggie. It's not even up to Nintendo anymore. It's up to Reggie.
Shinru says if a game company loses the source code of a game they want to remake, port, couldn't companies official copies of their games to recreate them? I think that's what Nintendo keeps reselling their older copies on NES and SNES. Couldn't companies official?
Wait, are they saying you can just take what was it? It was Square who lost Final Fantasy VIII. Are they saying you can just take a PS1 copy of Final Fantasy VIII and get the source code?
Yes.
Is that the implication of the comment? You
I
can't.
think so.
That's not how that works. No, you can't.
Couldn't remake. They had to I know Square had to reverse engineer it or something, didn't they? Wasn't that what they had mentioned? Yeah. Oof. Juice Man Vaughn says about Dragon Quest 12. What do you guys think will happen to the combat since Yuji said it will change?
I
think they're going to be more action oriented with it. That'd be weird.
I think it's going to be a hybrid. It's going to do. It's going to be active time battle. That's what I'm guessing, with potential movement at certain spots. It's still going to be turn based, but it's going to be potential active time battle with certain things that you can do to position yourself better to
In 11 you can move around, yeah. So maybe
it doesn't. 11 you can move around, but it means nothing. But
yeah,
yes,
that's
you can move around.
Yeah.
They'll actually make it mean something this time around, but still hang on to that turn based, but active time battle. That's what I'm guessing.
Mega says, hi again, do you think Square Enix has plans to make a sequel for Trails of Mana? That'd be pretty cool.
A sequel to that game?
Yeah.
Not a sequel to that game, but a new Mana game? Yes. Yeah, new Mana game, yes. A sequel to that one? No.
Roland says, MVG, how do you cook your steaks?
Medium, sometimes medium well.
Okay. RG Spawncast, should I go with RetroTink 5X or CRT TV for retro gaming? And they listed a bunch of retro game systems they'll be using, which includes the Nintendo, Super Nintendo, GameCube, PS2, etc.
That's tough. CRTs are great, but if you don't I used to have a monster. Right now I only have a 19-inch. But honestly, with the RetroTink, it's I don't know if I need that CRT anymore, because I do love the nostalgic feeling of playing on a CRT, but the RetroTink just makes everything look so fucking good on an HD television. It's I don't really need this anymore, I don't know. That's just me.
Looks not no message here. Thanks, Looks. Ding says my money is on Body Harvest Remaster at E3. Reese says, how many people do I have to convince to get Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown to get Sega to make a Virtua Fighter 6?
Free on PlayStation.
I think that's honestly, it might come down to Sony and if they want to almost fund one with Sega.
Free on PlayStation in 2021 and no rollback netcode for the.
I think they're gonna look to see how many people really download the thing, because there's a chance. There's a chance Sony might actually because their investment with esports and Evo, maybe they look into that with Sega and they're like, let's get a new Virtual Fighter. Michael says, what Dragon Quest do you guys recommend? Never played one, but the event had me interested in the HD 2D. However, I've been looking at Dragon Quest 11 on Switch. I would recommend Dragon Quest 11.
So yeah, I really liked what was the one that came out on the PS2 and then it came
Dragon
out
Quest
on the
8.
3DS. Yeah.
8 was good. Mm-hmm.
9.
Yep. Al says, hey, MVG, an image of you apparently briefly next to an article being viewed by Unbox Therapy's podcast this week. Free advertising. Congrats.
Sweet. Go click on it. Thank you.
Johnny, no message here. Thanks, Johnny. Near says, start with RE2 remake. RE lore doesn't matter. Let's go around here. I still have a few here to go over. I want to double check Streamlabs as well, but let me go around here. Jordan, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on my YouTube channel, Jordan Fringe, talking about old nostalgic cartoons and shows, and covering, anytime they come back or any new things like the new Rugrats. I put out a video yesterday about the new Return of the Rugrats. So yeah, if you're interested in that stuff, go check it out. Last week we hit 50,000 subscribers, and I just want to say again, thank you. Now that I'm not dealing with the shot effects, I appreciate all the support on the channel, and it really means a lot to me. So thank you for checking it out.
That's awesome. Sean, where can everyone find you?
I mean, RGT85. I make videos whenever I feel like it and talk about whatever I like. You can also find me on Twitter, RGT85. Usually talk about basketball, music, video games, random stuff.
This is from Ripe saying, sorry for the follow-up question about the 65-inch TV seeing distance, but do you guys move closer for 4K gaming?
No.
I do not.
Nope.
Jason says, my dream feature for a new Switch is an advanced Joy-Con drift system. Drift boys for life. Lil says, are any of you the type of people to play both Diamond and Pearl versions of Pokemon? I assume Jordan will.
Usually I always favor one over the other, but I will go through the other one eventually. So.
I'm gonna let Twitter pick which one I buy. They can vote for it, and I'll just
or we can get the dual pack.
Maybe.
I'll buy neither.
That's about right.
Bat says, I think MVG can appreciate this. We are getting around 20 players every Saturday on X-Link Kai playing Conquer Live and Reloaded. It's been so fun reliving.
Oh, nice. Hell yes. That's what I used to play Halo 2 on because my original Xbox was modded. So I would do X-Link Kai.
I used to play the original Halo. I used to play the original Halo over X-Link all the time.
That's awesome. I may jump in one weekend, see what's going on. If people are playing Conkers, I want to be a part of that.
Riku Kitu says Bloodborne on PC when? That's the big question. Kroon says, did you hear about the new COD DLC? It's just a 300 gigabyte audio track of the developers laughing and pointing at the empty PS5 NVMe slot. That's about right. On says, when Microsoft gets xCloud running on smoothly, how long do you give them before they start putting PC games on it that will stream to devices? Putting PC games on it. On xCloud? I mean, what do you consider, I guess, just a PC game? Like Age of Empires?
Yep.
I don't know. They're just going to stream everything they can that they put on there. Jeff Grubb says Uncharted 4 will be the first time we get Naughty Dog on PC since I emulated Way of the Warriors the other day. Shouts to Shaky Jake. Let's see. MVG, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Modern Vintage G and on YouTube, Modern Vintage Gamer. Video Monday, as always, and probably some midweek stuff depending on what happens next week. If there is any Switch-related stuff, I'll be covering it.
You seem to know something.
Thanks for having me on.
Hints? Teases?
You see the Switch developer over here, just very quiet over there, right? You see that?
I told you, I don't know dick about this stuff.
Shantae 4K Switch Pro.
Interesting.
We'll see, maybe.
9 and 13 says, RGT, I'm a diehard Knicks fan too, but I'm also a Nets fan since the days at the Continental Airlines Arena.
So that's when they were
Petrovic.
That was when they were New Jersey. You know, you had Kerry Kittles, Jason Kidd, Kenny Martin. That was a fun team. I liked them, and they were in New Jersey. So there wasn't like that New York beef. It was New York and Jersey. You know, it wasn't a big deal. But when you got two New York teams,
you can't be a fan of both of them, though. That's ridiculous.
I wasn't. I didn't own any Nets gear or anything like that. But if they were on, I would watch them.
I'm talking about that guy. You can't. That's fraudulent, in my opinion.
I mean, it depends on your level. You know, because there's levels. Like my teams are the Knicks and the Hornets, and then I go down tier lists with.
Yeah, that's fraudulent too.
No. OJ, you're just mad because the Bulls ain't shit.
OJ, where can everyone find you?
I mean, Chicago with the Bulls. No. You might be right here on YouTube. I got some cool content coming up. Got a lot of community events. We just got done with Knockout City, fun game. So we're gonna be playing that. Also, we got some pretty cool stuff coming up. Got some giveaways. I'm covering some Nintendo stuff. So if you're into RPGs, you're into action games, you're into Nintendo stuff, Switch stuff, and live streams daily, you can check out the channel. And thank you, John, once again. So many people coming over from the Spawncast. Like legitimately, like every week, at least 3 or 4 people each day on a stream. Like say, hey, I came over from the Spawncast. I love your content. So thank you for having me on. I do appreciate it.
All right, we go to Lala here. It says HD 2D style remaster of original SNES Donkey Kong Country trilogy from Nintendo. That would be something. Opus, no message here. This from looks not perfect. With Apple moving to ARM, NVIDIA acquiring ARM, what do you think is the future for x86 on PC, PlayStation, Xbox? Will they need to switch to ARM too? I mean, it seems like, it does seem like, I think x86 will be around, like, you know, to go along, but it does seem like there's a large shift to ARM right now with a lot of these companies. So depends what NVIDIA really does here with ARM. Nintendo Derek says there's been 2 Power Rangers games in the last 5 years, and unfortunately nobody bought them. Oh, I will also say that M1 processor is legit, MVG. You might want to check that thing out.
I can't believe you.
It's pretty impressive.
I can't believe you joined the cult of Apple.
It's I actually, what's funny is I got the MacBook Air and I use it to record audio because there's no fan in it.
Oh, that's
it doesn't need a fan because the M1 doesn't like get hot enough to need a fan for this MacBook Air, and the battery life 17 hours.
It's impressive.
Yeah, and it runs Dolphin at 60 frames per second. Is ridiculous.
Is it sponsored or?
No, I would.
MVG
Apple. Come on.
I'm not getting that. I'm not getting an Apple.
You should check it out. See what you think. Get the Mac Mini. Pio Theory says if the Switch Pro doesn't have build quality comparable to the Vita, I'm rioting. Kova says, in your opinion, do you think Nintendo would announce a Switch Pro in their E3 presentation date on the same day or announce them a few days apart? You know, we still don't know their E3 plans yet.
That's a lot of it.
They could do them together if they really wanted to. There's no reason that they couldn't pair them.
No, separate them. Separate days, separate video.
Well, one way or the other.
No,
do them
fuck
together
you.
so Sean can't double dip.
You can make 2 separate videos still.
One way or the other, though, we're hearing from Nintendo, I assume, this week. They're either going to talk about the E3, like what they're going to be doing, or they're going to talk about the Switch Pro. So
I mean, they don't have to do it this week. They still have another week.
I guess not, but like everyone else is kind of announcing their stuff and getting it done. So Paul says, fun idea equals Nintendo, Extreme Sports Racing, a crossover 1080 snowboarding, wave race, and Excite Bike thoughts, and Street Fighter 6. Any hopes? Yeah, you could see Street Fighter 6.
I love this. Make it happen.
I just want to see Nintendo do something with like 1080 would be cool, or wave race. Like those would be cool games.
Street Fighter 6. They're not going to talk about Street Fighter 6. They still haven't finished the DLC yet for Street Fighter 5. They still need a couple more characters and a secret character as well. They're going to start talking about Street Fighter 6. I don't think so.
I remember when they said there weren't going to be like these kind of releases for Street Fighter 5 back in the day.
A lot of things change.
Shinra says, hey Jordan, what do you expect out of the action RPG for the Pokemon franchises? I've been thinking about it, and honestly I can't think of anything.
I think what I'm most, I mean, the turn-based combat in Pokemon, it's simple and it works. I'm not the biggest turn-based combat fan, but I think what we're going to see is closer to what we've seen in the anime. If you grew up watching like the original show, like the fact, like, if we're going to be able to control the Pokemon in the battle, or have some more control of like, oh, they're attacking and I can move, and not just they attack, then I attack, then they attack, then I attack. I think that's going to be a lot more exciting and bring some more strategy to how you are able to tackle some of your fights.
Okay, I'm going to go through some of the Streamlabs stuff here. Liam says, I think a lot of people are going to be justifiably angry if all these companies are revealing all this stuff now and their E3 shows end up sucking, especially Sega. They could have just saved everything revealed these past couple of weeks for them.
You know what I always say during E3? Prepare for disappointment.
There we go. No, I think E3 will be fun. I think we'll see some cool stuff. My name says, do you think Nintendo will stick to only hybrid systems for the future? Can we expect them to try and reinvent how we play games like they have in the past with the new console? I mean, I think they're sticking with the hybrid concept in general, but they could do a little box Switch TV or something if they wanted to for cheap, but that hybrid concept worked. Dragon says, hey guys, longtime fan of the show. I recently started an online blog and was wondering, do you have any tips to help grow an audience? Also, will OJ be on the Spawncast tonight? Thanks, guys, and have a great night. That was a $5 donation.
OJ?
What was it? $5?
It says it was $5.
I'm here.
There you go. I grow a blog. I don't know.
A blog? Vlogging?
A blog.
A blog? That's a dead format, man. Like website blog by yourself? Absolutely not. Unless you got some type of crazy idea. I'd say no. What you need to do is focus on whatever your niche is and hit that niche, you know? Like if you're like Nintendo, going on Nintendo. You like PlayStation, going on PlayStation. But you're only one person. You got to think about it that way.
Nate, where can everyone find you?
Find me on YouTube at Nate the Hate. We have a podcast dropping Monday morning. I could do it tomorrow, but I think I'm going to hold it until Monday morning, where MVG and I discuss the Switch Pro with the Bloomberg article, as well as a different bit where we explore pricing, launch timing, launch software, why MVG has some hesitation coming from his developer background, and a lot more in the discussion, so people can give it a look on Monday morning once it is available.
You should save it for Tuesday morning.
No.
You should put it out Tuesday morning, Nate.
Well, if nothing happens Tuesday morning, then my video is still relevant and I have 2 days.
Well, no, because it's holiday weekend. You want to put it out Tuesday when everything's back normal and press releases go out and all this?
Monday morning.
Okay, Monday morning. Beetle says PS3 back from repair and running perfectly. I had to reflow and replace caps on both the RSX and Cell before Yellow Light of Death was gone. Thank you for advice. A few episodes back, if I attempted that myself, I would have ended up out the window. Much love to you all from the UK. Yeah, those are not fun things to repair. Taker says, since the Switch dock only outputs video, could the dock have an Ethernet port, or does the Switch itself need to have it? Also, with the Pro, how does this affect the major first party once a generation releases like Mario? When could we see an all new Zelda? We said this new Zelda game is probably we think it's gonna be first half of next year, but yeah, Ethernet could absolutely run through USB-C on the Switch. That's not a problem. We already do that with USB to Ethernet as it is. Zippo says, this sure was a fun week. Sonic Ranger is terrifying, exciting at the same time. Skeptical, but I can't say I'm not interested. Z-Ball says, I bought an Xbox One X from Facebook. Turns out the disk drive is faulty. New disk drives on Xbox about $48. It's very hard to change the disk drive. I have watched some YouTube videos and it seems easy enough. Should I try doing it myself?
You got the balls.
Yeah, maybe you need. I think the board needs to stick with the motherboard, though. There's a board on the drive itself, and that might be a pain. You don't just swap them out, unfortunately. You have to actually get the board out of there. I think that might have included some soldering, so you might want to look into that a bit more before you try it. CEZ says, any thoughts on Dying Light 2 new gameplay and Xbox E3 news? Thanks for the weekly stream. We talked about Xbox and what we thought of E3 Xbox the other day. Dying Light 2 looks good. It just looks like Dying Light 1, but just way more advanced. So I like the idea of it. It seems like they're trying to be very ambitious. So I feel like that's probably why it's been delayed, I think twice now. So I'm looking forward to it. And it's coming out first week of December. So I wouldn't be shocked if that it even got pushed to 2022. Les says RGT for president 2024. RGT's GMA for vice president 2024.
She'll still be around kicking too.
Yeah. Jenner says, what's everyone's take on Falcom games? I'm getting into more RPGs, especially action RPGs, and I'm mad I didn't play them sooner. Falcom games are good. They just take forever to beat.
Yeah, they're long.
Let's see. I think I got everyone there. Let's go over to Evan. Where can everyone find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Kimmerix Project. I usually post there if I'm going to go live streaming. I also post my artwork there, which people, I guess, see, but then I post a picture of a table, and then that gets a lot of attraction on there. So I don't know what the hell that was. But yeah, you can check it out.
This is from Wishbone saying Spawncast should really watch Basher, channeled by Daryl Anka. He is like the Dr. Phil of ET channeling. 30 plus years of experience. He is a Zeta Gray.
How about this? How about he watches us, and then how about that? How about he watches us?
I knew all of those words.
Always tell us, you go do this. No, how about he watches us?
No, he's talking about alien shit.
I don't care.
That's cool.
That dude can watch our channel.
Sean's already like typing. He's like, all right, let's see. Hold on a minute. Zeta Gray. What was that? Dr. Call says, RGT, what was that you were saying about the Bulls? Didn't hear it over the sound of all the championships the Knicks didn't win because of Michael Jordan existing.
God, my nose is so itchy. Crazy.
Can we get this? Yo, Jordan, can you get this man a burn heel, please? I know you got one in there. I know you got a burn heel.
Eric says, should I give up on getting a Series X this year? No, I think you're able to find them as going. I mean, MVG managed to get one.
Yep, I got one. Just keep an eye on
Jake Randall.
Jake Randall on Twitter.
Yes.
He is the man. He is the man. He will come through for you.
Someone in the chat earlier said that because I mentioned him on a video. They got a PS5 from watching him.
Okay, got everything on Streamlabs. Got all of that. And can Nate close it out, please? All right, Nate, it's up to you.
What am I doing?
John wanted you to close it. It does say Dr. Claus is RGT if you need to borrow that. You could probably borrow Patrick Ewing for Skype. Okay. Okay, all right, go ahead, Nate. John asked if you could close it out.
What episode number are we on?
217.
And that concludes episode 217 of the Spawncast. Thank you all for joining us tonight, your donations, and your amusing comments in the chat. We enjoy them greatly. We will be back next week, same time, same place. And in the meantime, you can check out all of the content that the creators on this panel create throughout the week, starting on Monday with Nate the Hate and MVG's latest podcast, followed by Tuesday when everyone else will return to work. And we will see you again next week for episode 218, where we may once again talk about the Nintendo Switch Pro. And if we don't, we'll talk about it the following episode, 219. Until then, have a good evening.